Everyone. I want to say thanks a lot for turning up today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my initial presentation. I'm going to talk a little bit about the university's rovings. This will be a short presentation today compared to the ones that we usually do, as I said, because it's a Saturday morning. But if you give me the chance now, I'm just going to share my presentation. And this is just to kind of welcome everyone today. So I want to say, firstly, start off by saying a huge thank you to all students. We've had a huge year this year in terms of coordinating exams. We have run more exams on more different dates than ever before. Such has been the continuation of what happened in 2020 in response to the global pandemic. We are going to kind of talk about what that means as well, about your studying in the Czech Republic and your arrival and things as well, because the rules have just changed in a good way for you guys arriving. And we'll talk about, I know there's some people asking questions about that already, so we will discuss that in more detail when we get there, because I've gone through the detail on a number of times with my colleagues at the Czech embassy. So we will discuss that as well. But like I said, it's been quite difficult this year because usually I'm seeing you guys in the exams in person, and we often do this pre-departure briefing in person. As Lucy knows, she's been to London on more than one occasion to help with these briefings. But again, for the second year running, the first time I'm going to be seeing you is in the Czech Republic next week, which is an improvement on last year where I couldn't get there in September because of the travel restrictions that were announced at relatively short notice. Anyway, without any further ado, let's just talk about what we're going to, how we're going to go through this morning. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the universities, the different universities you guys are enrolling at, and then about Lucy's going to hand over. Lucy and Teresa are going to talk about welcoming you to the Czech Republic and tell you a bit more about the country and about the cities and the towns and what they can do as a really great professional organisation to help you if you've got any queries. I've had a number of students post-Brexit with queries in the Czech Republic, and I've often passed them on to the team at Foreigners in the different cities, which has been extremely useful for those students who need that. And I think now for the British students, especially who are now third country citizens, you're going to find that you probably need a lot more support now and again from different little bits of bureaucracy that perhaps weren't there before. And then I'm going to talk to you about life as an international student, because I've worked with international students for coming up to 20 years now. So it's something that is passion for me to help support students who are studying abroad, because there are so many opportunities of being an international student if you can negotiate through some of the difficulties that tend to land on your desk in the very early stages of your experience abroad. And then we're going to have plenty of time for Q&A. But as I said, please ask questions as you go through. As I read the questions, if there's something pertinent to the presentation, we'll then deal with that question at that particular point. So we will be starting off. I actually fly to the Czech Republic on Monday, and I'll be starting off with everyone at Masaryk University, and I'll be in the university all day Tuesday next week, and very briefly on Wednesday morning before I go and get my mandatory COVID test to come back to the UK. So we will be talking about the things that we'll be doing in Masaryk after we've done the enrolment, because we will be there getting you registered with the foreign police. We will be there to help get you settled with your bank accounts, things like that. If you can't make it to Brno next week, don't worry. It's pretty simple, to be honest, and we'll go through what to do on email or over a one-to-one video call when you've got a date for your arrival. Following being in Brno, I am heading to Pulacky University, and I'll be heading there on Wednesday next week, and I'll arrive there Wednesday night, and on Thursday we're going to have a full day of enrolment and getting bank accounts and travel permits and things arranged. Olomouc is a lot smaller, so those things can be arranged a lot quicker as well. Everyone's within walking distance. And then over the following, not that week, but from the week commencing the, from the 17th, Friday the 17th, onto the week after, I'll be there to support the Charles University enrollees in Hradec Králové, as well as the 3 faculties in Prague. And more information is to follow on that next week after I finish the first trip. So without any further ado, before I step onto anyone's toes, then I'm going to hand over to Lucy and Teresa. Lucy, Teresa, I know you've got a fantastic presentation for the team here of students and parents. So if you can then bring your presentation up. Have you got it there in front of you, or do you want me to open it?
Okay, thank you, Ben. So is it us sharing the presentation or you sharing the presentation?
If you share the presentation at your end, because then you can control it.
Okay, so how do I do it? Because I've never done it.
You go to share screen.
Okay.
and then you'll be able to choose the PowerPoint to share it there.
Perfect. I'll get there, hopefully. You cannot start screen sharing.
That's because
you are
I'm still sharing my screen. There we go.
So let's try again. Okay, I guess this is it. Just in the middle, but okay, we will get there.
Okay.
And we will play from start. Perfect. Here we go. So welcome everyone. I believe we are saying hi to the students as well as to parents who are now sending their kids abroad. So hello everyone, we are based in Brno. We are from Foreigners Agency. That's the relocation agency helping expats and international students feel at home in the Czech Republic. My name is Lucy and I'm the head of PR and marketing division here. And this is my colleague Teresa.
Hi as well. My name is Teresa. This is my first time doing this presentation, but I'm really excited about it. I love the UK, so I'm excited to see students come in here and study here. And I'm the PR and marketing assistant to Lucy. So.
Yeah. So we are very happy to be with you, at least online, because as Ben mentioned before, I flew in like 3 times to the UK before the pandemic. That was a great time, but thanks to Ben, we can at least do this online. So I hope it will be useful for all of you. And let's get started. So I would like to ask you if it was in person, like who's been to the Czech Republic, but as I cannot see the answers, maybe some of you have been already. It's a great country and it's not far away from the UK. So if you feel homesick maybe, or your parents feel homesick, maybe you can visit. So the Czech Republic is in the Central Europe.
Lucy, sorry to interrupt. You know, where you're based in the UK, with this year we have 37 different nationalities from all across the world enrolling in Czech Republic. So my work's been there. So when we're talking about, we've got people coming from Jakarta, who someone's arrived in Brno from Jakarta, and then we've got people coming from Central America and South America as well. So it's been a very diverse year. So for some people, it is going to be a long journey.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I have to congratulate you all that you are getting to the schools, because being a doctor, that's really something. So the Czech Republic, you probably heard about the Czech Republic, and we have many foreigners here. I believe it's like a few thousand, 100,000 living in Prague, for example, because Czech Republic is a good country for living for foreigners, I would say, from our experience. What they usually talk about that they like about the Czech Republic is, for example, the healthcare system that we have here. We have a very low unemployment, so there are many foreign people heading for a job, or students as you are, good education, good quality universities, and sort of some work-life balance, I would say, that we are not, most of us are not like workaholics or something. We can divide the time between the family and between our own hobbies. There are many options for you to do some sort of activities after school, either it's a sport or you have a different hobby. So that's what expats usually say about this country. Or it's also like that we are, as general, we are not against foreigners as some countries are. We are kind of like polite to them, even though some people don't speak English yet. It's the older generation usually, but it's getting much better. So they may be a little bit confused when you speak to them in English, but you will learn Czech at your university, and we really appreciate when someone starts speaking Czech. So don't be scared to start speaking Czech, and don't be scared to talk to people. They may be when they see you for the first time, they may be a little bit surprised. We have like a little bit grumpy face, but don't worry, it's like our usual face. And then when we get to know you a little bit better, we are very friendly, I would say. I don't know, what's your experience, Terry?
I would definitely a little bit cold at first sight, but then it gets better as you get to know the Czech people.
Yeah, and you can have a long life friends, I would say. As for another things that are popular about the Czech Republic, it's beer. You may have heard that there are many breweries and people drink beer. I am an exception, maybe, or I don't know. I don't drink beer. I'm more for wine, so don't worry if you drink beer. If you don't drink beer, and there were times when water in the restaurant was cheaper than beer. I hope it has changed now, though.
I don't think it is.
Maybe somewhere. Okay, we have 1 hour more, if I'm not mistaken, here. So it's like +1. We have already 11 a.m. And we change between summer and winter time. So this is here are some pictures from the Czech Republic. As you can see, it's a small country, so you can really travel on the weekend when you need like some time of your studies and you need to get some more energy. So there are many sceneries that you can see. There is a very beautiful nature. There are many mountains, hills. You can go to some lakes and rivers, or the rock towns, for example, many view towers. That's very popular. So there is a view tower like each 20 kilometers maybe, or something like that. So it's easy to get out of any of the town you're gonna be, either it's Hradec, Olomouc, Prague, or Brno. Just you can take a bus, take a train, and you can get somewhere. So that's very pleasant, I would say, and very comfortable. We have more than 2,000 castles in the Czech Republic, so you can really like plan on your trips on the weekends or on some holidays. And many historical towns. There is Prague on the left picture, and on the right one, it's my hometown. It's a church in the Vysočina region, so I'm very proud of being from there. It's beautiful. On the left side, you can see Karlstein, built by Charles IV. On the right side, there is Kux, another church, and the picture on the right down, it's Villa Tugendhat, which is here in Brno, another piece of art where you have to book your visit kinda in advance, because it's a very, very popular. So we definitely recommend going there and booking your spot. As for weather, it may rain here less than in the UK, maybe, hopefully.
But not by much less, yeah.
Yeah, so...
That's not hard. Most places are drier than the UK. So, you know.
Yeah, maybe it used to be more rainy in the UK. It's changing because of,
We've had a lot of rain lately.
Yeah. It depends. But usually we have really like 4 seasons that change. So we have summers that can get really warm. Well, really something like 30 degrees or a little bit more. Then we have, on the other side, winters, when we have snow. It depends if you are in the city, if you are in the mountains where you are located in the Czech Republic. Last year there wasn't much snow, just maybe a few weeks. It was mostly rainy and cold, but there is a chance that there will be a lot of snow, so we definitely recommend to pack some warm jackets or winter jackets, or you can just buy them here. It's nothing too expensive, so don't worry if you don't have more space in your suitcase. But you can definitely try skiing or skating, for example, if that's any activity that you never tried before, maybe. So there is something new to look forward. Of course, now it's autumn. We have so-called Indian summer now. It's a very nice weather. So if you're arriving next week, as Ben mentioned, I believe that you will arrive to really like 20 degrees sunny, which is perfect for you to like getting ready for the life here. So it's the Indian summer right now, which is gonna change probably into some little bit more rainy and drizzling weather. But beautiful. Terry loves autumn, so
the leaves will change colors and it will be beautiful.
Yeah. So, and spring, of course. So it depends. Each year is kind of different, but there are many activities you can do during the seasons. You can try new things. So I think that's something you can be looking forward to. As mentioned, we have many heritage sites. So on the left side, you can see Brno, which is the cathedral here close by. You can be visiting the castles and chateaus, and nature is very close. You can ride a bike, which is very popular here in the Czech Republic. You can rent bikes. We also later on in this presentation, we will share with you some apps that it's, for example, renting the bike. So you can rent a bike within the city to get to the point that you need to, for example. You can try water sports, paddle boarding, and much more. So Czech Republic is simply a lot of fun, I would say. We mentioned briefly transportation. That's one of the things that also expats usually say that is great about the Czech Republic, because they may be from countries like Ukraine or Italy or US, yeah. But for example, when I was in Italy, I was like so much surprised that there was a bus supposed to be like leaving at a certain time, and it didn't leave. It left, I don't know, 20 minutes late, and they said like, yeah, well, that's normal. So it doesn't happen here usually. They really arrive on time and leave on time. So sometimes even when you are like trying to get the tram, they are just going, and the driver doesn't care because they are on the schedule. So be careful about that. But on the other hand, it's something very useful. I would say that you can rely on the transportation here, that the bus will really go and the train will really get you to the place that you need to. As mentioned also before, Czech Republic is very usefully, comfortably located in the Central Europe. So you can get to other cities very easily. You can take a train to Vienna, you can go to Berlin, you can fly to other cities or other countries around, and it's close by, so it's very convenient. Then we have the transportation. We have the trains here that are also going frequently between Prague and Brno and other cities, or even smaller cities and regions. You can take a bus, for example, of course. And as for the commuting in the city, in Prague, we have metro or subway. I never know which is American or which is British English, so I will use both.
The tube.
Tube, sorry. So the tube, which is only in Prague in the Czech Republic, because other cities are not big enough to have it, simply, I would say. So there are trams, there are trolley buses. But for example, here in Brno, what's very convenient, again, especially for the students who may be getting late home from either a library or either a party, there is a special night bus system, public system. So there are buses leaving each hour at night from the main train station. So it's okay to stay somewhere late if you need to or if you want to, and get home safely. So it's not like that there wouldn't be anything going to your place after midnight or something like that. You can always get home very comfortably by the night bus.
Yeah. You don't have to take a taxi.
Yeah. So it's not anything crazy like that. You would have to pay a bunch of money. So as for some of the prices for the transport passes, which we recommend you to get if you're gonna stay for the whole year, you expect to be here for long term, it definitely pays off. So you can get your monthly pass, 3 months pass, or a year pass. What surprised me last year when I was preparing this presentation was that Brno got more expensive than Prague. And I couldn't believe that. But somehow they managed in Prague some cooperation with, I don't know the details exactly, but it's cheaper in Prague, although it's a bigger city, but what you can do. It's still, I would say, comparing to UK prices, or we were talking about US or other countries, it's still kind of cheap. It's nothing too expensive, I would say.
And these are the student passes,
affordable, right? Yeah, and these are the student passes, so it's better for you guys,
because the regular ones are like twice that price.
So enjoy being student. you have lots of benefits here, which is great. As for the whole year, of course, we have weekends when we don't usually work, but we study or we can do other stuff. We have public holidays. We have 13 public holidays, meaning that that day is off. You don't go to school or you don't go to work, and it works the way that if it falls on a weekend day, it's like we are losing that public holiday. It's not like, for example, in the US or that you get the bank holiday on Monday if it falls on Sunday. Unfortunately, we don't do it here. So check the calendars when it is, and then you can be looking forward to that. What is good to be careful about, that the public transport timetables change on these days. So it's always better to check if this bus is really leaving on Saturday or Sunday, because there are different schedules. We will also talk about an app that can be useful for you, so you can check it out anytime you get out, and you want to be sure that the tram is really leaving at this certain time. Always good to check also on public holidays if some shops are open, supermarkets, because they may be closed the whole day. They are closed on Christmas Eve, they are closed on the New Year's Eve, for example, and some other days. It depends on the size of the shop, so it's good to check their social media, for example, Facebook, Instagram profile. They are usually informing about that, or you can ask us, or we have some useful articles about that on our blog, or we inform on our social media as well. So you can follow the shops, you can follow foreigners, for example, and you will be updated. As for the academic year, now the semester will start, as you know, so it's the autumn semester, and then you have holidays for Christmas, and then it's like the exam period in January, and then it starts again, the winter semester, the spring semester starts in second half of February, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and again running for 3 months, and then you have the end of May and June for your exams. So the period for your studies for exams is approximately 1.5 months, 1.5 months, but it always depends. And what I heard, guys, medical faculties are tough. So I wouldn't be just studying during the exam period, being you, but you will have to be, of course, getting ready during the semester, but that's fine. No, I don't know, from your experience, you are more like the teacher, and you are doing your PhD right now. So yeah, she's studying as well.
Yeah, I mean, what's good to know about Masaryk University, at least, I don't know if that's true for other universities, is that the spring examination period extends into September. So if you don't get some of your exams done in June, you can get them done in September, which means that you can study all of the summer holidays if you want to. So that's good. Okay. I have my exams next in 2 weeks, so
get them done in June.
Yeah, they will do them all in June.
These are the state exams, the final exams, so that's different.
Yeah. A little bit about the Czech language. I used to be a Czech teacher. I was teaching foreigners to speak Czech, so I have many funny like memories, I would say. But it was great. 5 years spent with expats trying to learn Czech language, which is not easy, as you may have known already. It belongs to the Slavic group of languages. So our language is similar to Slovak, for example. So if you understand Czech, you usually understand Slovak people as well, because it's very similar. Then kind of similar is also like Polish language or Russian or Croatian. So maybe some of you have been to Croatia or any other of these countries. So we sound something like that. And it ranks amongst the most difficult languages in the world. So if you learn that, then you are really a hero, and you may learn that because once you are living here, it's much easier. You will be getting friends from the Czech Republic, Czech friends. You will hear the language all around you. So I believe
Every
that
day.
so you will like catch it very, very quickly. And what I remember from medical students is always funny to meet with them, because they know these not weird words, but the words that are related to the field. So you will soon probably know how to say diarrhea in Czech, which is not like something very useful, but for you doctors, you will need that. There are some phrases that you can already like try to say right now if you want to. How we say hello, which is dobrý den, goodbye is nashledanou, how are you, jak se máte, fine, thank you is dobře, děkuji, this ř, this r with a hook, it's the most complicated consonant, I would say, to pronounce, which you can be practicing for some time, but you will get there. And you can read the other phrases, simply yes and no, ano and ne. You can start practicing before you get here. And don't be surprised that sometimes we don't have vowels in the words. So you can hear the words like they are written on here on the right side, down there, unique words with no vowels, which is prst, for example, which is a finger, or krk, which is a neck. So that's something for you guys already, because you will study the human body, so you can remember prst and krk, which is a neck. And no vowels, but it's fun, I would say. Let's have a look at some memes so you can read them. That's how it goes with the Czech language. And when we post these memes on our social media, they are usually the most commented ones, and they are the most reactions, because everybody is struggling with the Czech language. So don't worry about that. And I don't want to scare you. I love the language. We love the language.
Yes,
it's beautiful. It's beautiful. As for the living costs here, you can see that we are not using euro or pound, we are using Czech crowns. 1 pound is now 29.53 Czech crowns. You can use the exchange offices here when you arrive, where you pay no commission. And of course, you can use the credit cards. Most of the places, sometimes you run to a cafe or something where they don't accept credit cards, but it's really like a minimum of them. We can use credit cards like 99% at 99% places. If you go to a restaurant for your beer or whatever, or some Czech meal, typical Czech meal, which may be kind of heavy because it's usually something like dumplings and sauces, you tip people about 10%. That's kind of the normal, the average. So it's of course up to you. But as we mentioned, you will have a lot of benefits here. Being a student, you will get your ISIC card. And when you show this to many places like cinemas or other institutions like cultural institutions, for example, you will get some discounts. So definitely go for that. It pays off. You can see some items on the right side, how much you pay for them approximately in Czech crowns and pounds. So you can get the picture how costly it is here.
Yeah, this is going to be slightly different in Prague.
Of
I think
course.
It's going to be slightly more in Prague. But I would say in Brno, as I read it, this is about right.
Yeah. It differs, of course. There is inflation all the time and stuff like that. So
right
you will see right now, but something like that approximately. This should comes in handy as well. Speaking about the phones, electricity, and the internet. So we have our special dialing code, of course, for the Czech Republic, which is +420. We have 3 major phone service providers, which is O2, Vodafone, and T-Mobile. And I think Ben already mentioned to you that definitely you should get a SIM card with a Czech number, because you will be here for a long time. So you can call everyone, you can chat with anyone, you can have your internet, you can have your data, you can prepay your contract, whatever. So this is very useful to have.
The Czech, Lucy, sorry for coming in there. The reason having a Czech number is really essential at the start is one of the aspects of opening a bank account requires you to have a Czech number to access online banking and to activate your bank account. For some reason, it doesn't always work with an international number. I often help students go and get the SIM cards, but you can pick them up in any shop, any supermarket, much in the same way as you would in the UK, US. One thing to have is an unlocked phone. So if you do have a cheap unlocked phone, just to get you started, do bring it with you, because then you'll get a text message when you open your bank account, which is going to be essential for that, really. Also, taxis, takeaways, those kind of things, they'll often call you or message you, but they'll only call you or message you on a Czech number. So from one of the first things you can do is, perhaps when you land at the airport, guys, is just go and get a SIM card from a shop in the airport. Yeah, very simple thing to do. That's if you're landing in Prague. If you're landing in Vienna, don't buy it in Vienna. Wait till you get to or Prague or Olomouc, wherever, and then pick up your card then. Okay.
Thank you for stepping in, Ben, definitely. And as you mentioned, that taxis will call you or provide us services like that. Also ordering food is quite useful.
Yeah, takeaways, yeah.
Takeaways, exactly. When you're home studying, you don't have time for cooking, you will just order some food. Okay.
And groceries.
And groceries. We will talk about it in a little bit. We will just post some, we'll be posting on our social media about an open call option SIM card on Monday. It's just scheduled. So if you see something like that on Monday on our social media, you can check it out. Open call. It's the card. It's from O2. As for the electricity, you can see the voltage. You can see the frequency that we use here. What we definitely recommend is getting this extension cord, because we all have our phones, laptops, I don't know, other chargers, other technical things that need the energy. So this is useful. Definitely bring one with you, or you can buy one again cheaply here in the Czech Republic, but put it on your list, I would say.
Definitely for the British people, definitely bring a UK multi-plug board like you've got there. You'll then need one adapter, which you can then plug into the wall and plug your multi-socket in there. Then you've got about 4 or 5 or 6 different options that you can use for a UK plug, rather than having to have 5 or 6 different adapters and then struggling. At least this way you can use one adapter, one output from the wall, and then you don't need to replace all of your chargers, etc., with European plugs.
Yeah. We don't want to be killed by all the cables being around. And yeah, as you can see, it's like that our halls, we have already 2 halls, so it's different than the Czech Republic, than UK. Internet usually runs freely, like Wi-Fi at, again, places like libraries, restaurants, cafes, anything like that, some public spaces and universities. If you are renting an apartment, you have to either do it on your own, or sometimes it's already there from the landlord, so you can just join the Wi-Fi, and you can use free roaming within the EU, but yeah, within the EU. Did I forget something about this? I don't think so. Good. So we will move to a little bit deeper stuff, some immigration matters, which you talked about with Ben for sure. So I will hand over to Terry, who is now the immigration expert here. Sorry, Rob.
Sorry, there are some questions on this matter which has been flagged up. So I'm hoping that this section will deal with the questions. There's a couple of questions I've got as well, which are more open questions, and those for the people listening as well. But I'll let you go in, Terry, if that's okay. And then we'll probably deal with the questions about this when we get to that part of the presentation. Okay.
So when it comes to immigration, one of the most important things is to register with the foreign police when you come in to the Czech Republic. It's necessary to do it within 3 days upon your arrival. But from our experience, if you're in quarantine or if there's something going on, it's not a problem if you come in a bit later, if you explain it to them. So don't be too worried about that. I saw one of the questions in there. Somebody was asking if they need to register when they get their actual visa, or if they need to do it when they have their short-term visa. And that's actually a question I got last week when I was doing a presentation at the Anglo-American University in Prague. And then I asked one of our specialists about it, and they told me that it's the first option. It's you can do it after you have your actual visa. You don't have to do it if you're just here like for the 90-day period.
Yeah, so if I ask a question there, because there are British students who are coming who've not yet received their long stay visa, because the embassy in the UK have done the best job they can do, but they didn't have the staff to cater towards us being a third country citizens again. A number of the British students are going to be coming for the 90-day visa-free period, because we can come without a visa for 90 days now because of since the COVID restrictions have relaxed. They'll be returning to the UK to collect their visa, whether it be next month, the month after, then come back to the Czech Republic. So should the students who are there on a 90-day visa-free stay also register with the foreign police in their city? Because they won't be...
From what I've been told, it's okay if they do it when they get their actual student visa.
Okay, so they can stay in the Czech Republic for 8 weeks, 10 weeks, and then return to the UK, collect their long stay visa, come back and then register with the foreign police on arrival. Yeah. Perfect. That was the one question I had, which I'm assuming quite a lot of the people who are coming on short stay visas or on visa free while they await their long stay visa are going to have as well.
Yeah, because it's the same as if they just came here for holidays. They can be here for 90 days and nobody has to know that they're here.
Okay.
But
quick one, that one, Teresa. Someone has asked here, do I have to do all of this if I have EU residency? My understanding is, and you guys can correct me, is if you have EU residency, you do need to register with the foreign police, but usually you've got 30 days to do that.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, hey. Got that one right.
You're awesome.
Okay, so when you go register, what you need to know is that when you go there, you need to provide a lease agreement, health insurance, and also fill out an application, which you will get there. So those are the most important things. The lease agreement is probably going to be the most tricky part. You need to make sure that it's signed by the owner of the apartment or the apartment, because if it's not going to be valid. So that's just something that you need to double check to keep in mind. People who are coming, or students who are coming to the Czech Republic on a long-term residence permit, they can register with the Ministry of the Interior directly, because they'll need to get their little biometric card. And also anytime there's any change in your life, so if for some reason your name changes, if you move, if you get married in the Czech Republic for some reason, you need to also report that to the Ministry of the Interior. And I think usually you have like 15 days to do it, or there's a period of time.
I don't think anyone's in danger of getting married in the first month, at least.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
It does happen. I have it happen where students have then, settled down for one reason or another. Yeah.
Exactly. Also, if you lose your passport or any of your permits, it's really important that you go to the ministry as soon as possible to report that.
Yeah, don't be scared that they will
be mad.
Exactly.
They will not, yeah.
These things happen all the time, guys. People lose documents. Things happen. They're going to be very appreciative of you doing it correctly, because it makes their life in the office a lot easier as well, and they're there to do a service. One thing I was gonna state then, and it's just gone out of my mind, is students who are staying in the student residences. I know at Palatsky University, the university registers the students directly with the Ministry of the Interior, but I don't think that's the case with all of the universities. If the students are staying at a student residence in the university, they should basically take when they sign the lease agreement, when they arrive at the university, bring that with them instead of obviously a landlord's contract, yes?
Yeah. Also, I mean, that's a very good comment, because this is something that I've been told in Prague by the students there as well, is that sometimes the university registers them so they don't have to go there at all. But that's something that's not the same in all the cities. So you need to double check as well. Like in Pilsen, they don't need to go, but in, for example, Brno, you might have to go.
Brno, they do need to go, yes. But it's you can do it. You can walk in on Seji 62, I think it is. They can walk in and do it there, which I'll be helping students with.
Just something to double check in your city to make sure if you need to go or not. in person.
One little note from me, as Terry mentioned regarding the lease agreement, that it's important to have the owner's signature there and everything. Again, we also offer accommodation, and if it's, for example, you're gonna live in some of the apartments that we take care of, we have in operation, we double check this for you, and we take care of all these issues, the paperwork. So you don't.
I was going to mention that because I think you guys will talk about accommodation that you offer to students shortly, and that's well. One thing I will say, guys, if you're staying in a hotel or an Airbnb for a short period, then don't worry. The hotel or the owner of the Airbnb is they're legally obliged to actually register you from their cells rather than you have to go and register. So they will generally do that if you're doing that and you're on your visa as well. But it's good to go along once you've got your permanent accommodation arranged anyway, and then get that registration with the foreign police arranged.
Do we have some more questions related to this topic, Ben? I see.
Let's have a look. Someone said, will my dorm letter be enough to submit to the foreign police instead of the lease agreement? When you arrive, Abhinav, when you arrive at your dorms, you will also have another agreement which you'll sign when you're there. That's the one that you will take when you register with the foreign police. You'll have that straight away once you've arrived, okay? Someone said, if you're in the Czech Republic on a student visa and leave the country for a month or so, do you need to inform the police when you leave and come back? I don't believe you do, but Teresa, can you brief us on that one?
I don't think so. As long as you have a valid visa, you will be able to just go out and in. It's a different situation if your visa is just about to expire and you don't yet have a new one, then we will get to it, but you need to get a special bridging visa to be able to go and be able to safely come back, which is really important, especially now when it can happen that, you know, the borders get shut and it's really hard to get in.
I think, Rana, one thing that will happen, if you're on a long stay visa, the 12-month long stay visa, you will convert that to a residence permit within the last 12 weeks, but no later than 2 weeks before your visa expires. So you get your long stay residency permit within the last 3 months of your long stay visa with a letter from the university. That used to be the rule, Teresa. Is that still the rule now?
To get the residence permit?
To get the residence permit, they register in the last 3 months of the visa, the long stay visa.
I'm not sure about that. That's
okay, if Aldrich can get back to us on that one, yes?
Do it that way, I think.
Yeah. I think most students start studying, register, and then in the last 3 months, they then apply for the long stay residency permit, which you renew every single year, you re-enroll at the university. One thing is, even if you've got the residency permit, guys, if you do change where you live, you need to let the Ministry of the Interior know. It's if there is a change in circumstances, just by default, you have to let the Ministry of the Interior know where your new address is. And that's also for your safety and your to keep you legal in the country. For those coming from various countries, you can also register with your own embassy as well to register your arrival and residency in the country. If you ever need consular services at your own embassy, whether that be the British Embassy, American Embassy, or wherever, then that's always a good thing to do.
Okay, so is it all for now as for this?
I think someone's asked, so for an EU resident, and this is for a non-EU citizen who's resident in another EU country, because I know what this is queried, is it the 30-day or the 3-day or a 90-day? If you've got so I'm assuming this person has a Schengen residency permit in Austria, I believe. So that person's coming to study in the Czech Republic while they're waiting on their residency permit for the Czech Republic. So they'll be coming to the Czech Republic and starting off on their Austrian Schengen residency permit, but they should register with the foreign police. My understanding that would be usually within the first 3 days, it would class because they're a third country citizen.
I would say so.
Yeah, I would say so too. Like, I'm not 100% about this because I haven't had this case personally yet, but I would say so just to be sure, to be safe. I would do it within the 3 days because it's possible that they don't have to, but I'm about 80% on this.
Yeah. And also, one thing to state there as well is, you know, the Schengen borders closed last year when the pandemic was at its worst. So doing these things as early as possible is always advantageous in case of a sudden change in rules as well. So just be ahead of yourselves, guys, there.
You can up the list and you can go on.
Get it done.
Linda, with the year visa that Nadia's got, we register in Brno within the first 3 days. Okay, so that's standard. I'll be providing support on that to students in Brno next week. So don't worry too much about that. It's a very, listen, it doesn't take long if the queue's short. It literally takes a couple of minutes. Someone said here, if you're going without your student visa, for 90 days visa free, so someone has a British passport, do you need to take any documents or anything with you to show at the airport? Yes, you do, in relation to COVID, but we'll talk about that in shortly, okay? Because there's going to be a lot of people that have got that question. So I'll just leave that question there for the moment in the question box, but we will discuss that when we get to talking about arrival because of COVID, okay? All right? Teresa, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, thank you.
So this is something that I touched upon a little bit already. It's really important that you keep your eye on the visa validation or the residence permit validation, and you extend it on time. This is something that we can help you with again once your visa is about to expire or residency permit is about to expire. And as I said, once it expires and before you're able to get your new one and you want to leave the Czech Republic for any reason to go home for holidays, it's necessary that you get a bridging visa because that's going to ensure that you'll be able to come back. So this is this little label that goes into your passport, and it just allows you to spend any time outside of the Czech Republic and then come safely back. It's really easy to get this label. There are no lengthy approval processes. And it's possible to get it for any length of time you need, basically. If you tell them it's probably going to be 3 months before I get my new permit, then they'll give it to you for 3 months. So this is just something to keep in mind for the future. So, yeah. Now a little bit about healthcare. As Lucy said, we have a really good healthcare system in the Czech Republic, I would say. For all third country citizens, it's necessary that you get the comprehensive healthcare insurance. Since the 2nd of August, it's now mandatory that all third country citizens get this insurance from the PVZP, which is the biggest insurance company in the Czech Republic. And yeah, you have to have it at least for the first 5 years. So if you decide to stay in the Czech Republic after you finish your studies, you still have to have it for the 5 years, and then you can change to a different company if you choose to do so. There is an advantage that comes with this because this is the biggest insurance company in the Czech Republic. So it's going to be easier for you to get healthcare because they have contracts with the most healthcare providers, I would say. So that's the advantage of this new change. So if you have this comprehensive health insurance, you will have the guarantee of access to complete medical care in the Czech Republic, where they have contract with the insurance company. When it comes to if anything happens to you and you don't need to go to the hospital or to the doctor, you can go to the pharmacy to get over-the-counter medication. Pharmacies usually are open on working days, but there are special pharmacies that are open round the clock, basically. Usually they're near hospitals, so that people who go to the hospital on the weekend can go to the pharmacy. So there's always going to be a pharmacy open all the time. You just have to find it, basically.
Or in some shopping malls, there are also pharmacies and they are open on the weekend.
Yeah, that's true.
One thing that might be different, guys, to pharmacies, say that in the UK or US, where I've been in pharmacies, is you will find that you have to ask for things more when you go to a pharmacy in the Czech Republic rather than picking things up off the shelf in the UK. We actually have quite a liberal approach to medication in the UK, which we buy from the pharmacy, mainly because we want to stop people talking to health professionals and using their time. But you'll find that in pharmacies in other countries, quite often you can't just pick medication up off the shelf. You have to go and ask for it from the pharmacist. And in some countries, you can't pick any medication up at all in the pharmacy. You have to go and ask for it from behind the desk. So if you know what medication you want, if you want codeine and paracetamol if you're in particularly bad pain, or a particular anti-inflammatory that's over the counter. You'll often have to ask for that rather than go and pick it up. So just a slightly different system, because I've been around looking for medication in the past and I couldn't even get paracetamol in some places. I had to go and ask for paracetamol, which we can buy from, for 16 pence off the counter in Tesco in the UK here. But you'll find that's just a more traditional way of doing things.
Yeah. When you usually get there will be like 2 lanes you can get to. Which one of them will be with the prescription, and the second one will be like, hey, I don't have any paper, so I want this, and you will talk to the pharmacist.
What I'm going to do, guys, I've got some URLs I'm going to show you after this presentation. Teresa and Lucy will stay with me while we're doing that, just so we can talk about how you can buy your health insurance if you still need to get it. And again, how you can book these tickets that we're going to show you now. I've actually got the URLs open, ready to go to show you how easy it is to do that. But Lucy, Teresa, go ahead.
As we mentioned, there are also several useful apps and websites that we have in the Czech Republic that are going to be beneficial for you, I would say. I use them all the time. So when it comes to online shopping, that's really useful for students who need to study all the time. So here, probably rohlík.cz is the most popular one. I use that one all the time. We have Tesco's as well, which is always really exciting for British people when they come to the Czech Republic. You can get some British things in there as well. So that's good. They have an online grocery delivery system as well. Then there's Everly, which is slightly different, I think, because they bring you things from
any supermarket you want to, basically.
Yeah, so it's not one supermarket, but you can choose whatever you want and they will bring it to you from different places. And then Košík, which is the Czech word for basket, works on a similar principle. They will go to whatever store you choose and they will bring it to you. But the first one, Rohlík, probably is the easiest to use, I would say.
We had more items from UK here, Marks and Spencer and things like that before Brexit. Now it's, I think, slowly getting
slightly more difficult to get them.
To get that stuff, but it's still possible.
Then when it comes to transportation, EDOS is probably the most vital app that you will ever download in the Czech Republic, and I'm not kidding. I use it several times a day. You can see it. You can see the screenshot on the slide. Basically, you can use it in most Czech cities, definitely Prague, Brno, I think Olomouc as well. I don't want to lie, but I think so. And it's really easy. You can put in your departure location and your destination location. It doesn't even have to be the name of the stop. If you don't know the name of the stop, it can just be the name of the street, or it can find your location if your location services are on, and it will tell you when exactly your tram or your bus is departing, when it's going to be there, what are going to be the middle points, all of the stops between, so you always know where you are. If for some reason the bus is delayed, it will tell you as well.
And
so
how long it's delayed, it will tell
how
you
long
as
it's
well.
delayed, when will it get here. So this is a vital app to use, I would say. For me, I use it all the time.
So do I.
And as you can see, it's in English, so it shouldn't be a problem for you to use. Then if you want to travel by train, Czech Railways also have their own app. It's called My Train. So that's good too, although you can also use EDOS for trains.
And buses for anything.
And buses for anything, yeah. And then there's RegioJet, which is probably the most famous bus and train company in the Czech Republic. They provide transportation between cities the most, but also outside the Czech Republic. If you need to go to the Vienna airport, they have a bus. If you need to go to Berlin, even you can use their bus, and they have a really handy app as well.
The yellow buses and
yellow
trains.
buses with
Yellow
big
is the
mirrors.
color.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then when it comes to transportation within cities, as we already mentioned, Prague, and not only Prague, but Brno and other big cities have many bike and scooter sharing services. Scooter sharing services have become really popular lately. There's
everywhere.
Always people zooming around on scooters. So if you see them, just
be careful.
Be careful
They're
because
fast
sometimes they use the pavement and even though they shouldn't, but these are the shared scooter services, and these include Recola, Nextbike, Lime, and Bolt. Bolt also is something similar to Uber. It has like you can call the car and it will take you anywhere, like a taxi cab service as well. So all of these have phone apps as well as websites, so you can check them out later.
Yeah, you can take a screenshot now, or maybe Ben can send you this presentation. It's not a problem, so you can have it all.
Yeah, these are links, so you can click on them.
The recording has stopped, Ben. We didn't hear you.
You're muted.
You're muted, Ben. Muted.
I'm back.
Okay, cool. So you stopped recording, all right?
Yeah, don't worry, that was an accident. I'll restart it now. Carry on.
Okay. So here is the beautiful map of the Czech Republic and Slovakia a little bit, I believe. We get to the point of talking a little bit about the cities where you're gonna live in, study in. For example, some of you are going to Hradec Králové, which I visited last year or the year before, and it's like a mid-size city where I think we find very pleasant to live in. It's located in East Bohemia, and there is a Charles University, the Faculty of Medicine, so you may be studying there. And it's like, again, people are getting on the bikes, scooters, things like that, getting around. It's kind of a flat city, and as I said, it's not big and it's not small. It's perfectly in the middle. So that's a little bit about Hradec. Brno, that we are based in. I've been living here for 15 years, so it's a long time. Terry maybe also
I was born here.
You were
and
born
been
here.
living here for 30 years.
So even longer. You may be speaking about Brno. But I fell in love in Brno when I started to study here, and I stayed here, so it may happen to you as well. It's the second biggest city in the Czech Republic. What Ben was showing before, the red building, it's the campus, the Faculty of Medicine there, the university campus, and the hospital is just right next to it. So that's a very modern new place. We have trams, trolley buses to commute within the city, as we mentioned before, and everything is close because Brno, even though it's the second biggest city in the Czech Republic, the city center is really small. You can walk to everywhere within one day, I would say, or maybe even less, to see all the nice points, the cathedrals, the castles and everything. And sometimes you don't have to hop on a tram even, and you can just walk 5 to 10 minutes to get wherever you are going. So it depends where you're gonna live, of course, but that's very convenient about Brno. Of course, we have some longer like suburbs, and so you have to travel longer to the lake, for example, or something like that, but it's still the city center is really small, so you will get to know it very, very quickly. So there is a small town atmosphere. You can walk to many places, and there are new cafes, restaurants like opening all the time. As I said, that I've been living here a long time, and there is always something new I haven't been to, so I don't think that you will get bored living in Brno. There is a local slang which I don't understand fully. Maybe Terry does. Hantec, it's called. So you can hear that, for example, we don't call a tram tramvaj in Czech, but we call it šalina here in Brno only. But so when you are traveling from Brno to Prague and you say šalina there, they're looking at you like you came from the village, because they consider Brno being a village. So that's just something funny about the city. Many statues new. You can see there are many culture opportunities to go to museums and everything. So it's really a good place to live in. I would say people are a bit warmer here than in Prague, maybe like a more pleasant kind of more smiling than in Prague. Prague is maybe a little bit faster in everything, like communication, and people are always in a hurry. So Brno is kind of a little bit more relaxed, I would say.
Yeah, I always compare it to, like, if you compare Edinburgh and London, a little bit like that. Brno is very similar to Edinburgh, I would say. in the way where you can walk anywhere and all the like interesting things are close together. And then London is like vast and you have to like take the tube to go somewhere. And Brno and Prague have a very similar dynamic. So I think that's something that you can imagine.
That's a good
better.
comparison. Even though Prague and London, I kind of like still
well,
yeah. So speaking about Prague, it's the capital city, called usually the city of 100 spires, and it's a beautiful, beautiful city. Everybody wants to go there, of course. Yeah. You can see that. So there's the Charles University, first, second, third faculty of medicine. We also have some apartments like close to the faculties, so good for you students. You may see more tourists in Prague definitely than in Brno, but since COVID has come, it's like still not how it was before, when you could just like you were still meeting like Japanese people with taking pictures and other tourists from like all over the world. So it's a bit calmer still now in Prague, and English speaking people are almost everywhere because it's a
quite an interesting thing happened during the original COVID lockdown, the first COVID lockdown. The Czech Republic actually was one of the most successful countries at the initial stage on preventing infection. I know the second wave hit the Czech Republic pretty bad in September last year, but originally there was very few infections in the Czech Republic. And what they did in the Czech Republic is on Charles Bridge, ordinarily you would struggle to hear Czech language spoken on Charles Bridge because it's effectively populated by tourists, but they had a huge table across the whole of Charles Bridge, and everyone had brought food with them. So everyone had a big meal on Charles Bridge to celebrate the fact that there was no COVID in the Czech Republic at that time of any discernible amount. Obviously, things changed in September when the borders opened and infections started spreading, etc. And then I think the Czech Republic was badly hit then. But that was, I think, the first time in many years that the Czech language was the most spoken language on the bridge because of the number of tourists.
Yeah. Even though they were criticized for this event a lot, was it really necessary that so many people met? Because then again, the virus started to spread. So it's like it was great to see that, but there was a lot of criticism after that. Yeah. And speaking about Olomouc, it's I would say similar to Hradec Králové as for the atmosphere, maybe more like historical atmosphere, a little bit more in the city center that you can see here on the pictures. So there is this there are the fontaines, there is the Holy Trinity column astronomical clock that you can see on the right side. It's located in central Moravia, and there is the Palacký University Faculty of Medicine. There are beautiful parks in Olomouc, and again, great cafes to stay in, study even. So another very nice cities to stay in.
You'll never be lonely in Olomouc. It's such a small, comforting place that you will bump into someone every year. When I visit the universities in the Czech Republic, I usually do a visit, usually in November, where I bring some college counselors from some schools, mainly in Asia. As we walk around the institution, I know I do not need to plan any visits with students, because just in one walk through the town and through the university, I will bump into 50 or 60 students that I've worked with in the past. So that happens a lot more in Olomouc than it would say in Brno or in Prague, which are obviously bigger locations where you can have a bit more anonymity.
Yeah, good point. Speaking about us, the agency, Furnished agency, so we've been here since 2009, and our owners, or the people who founded the company, were also students at that time in Hradec Králové, where they were part of the ESN club, Erasmus Student Network. So they saw like how international students can be treated differently than Czech students. Struggling, yeah. So that's why they decided to start this agency. It was a brilliant idea, I would say. We are still here, even over the COVID. So we have offices in all the cities you are going to, Brno, Prague, Olomouc, Hradec, besides that also Plzeň, but you are not gonna study there, just in case you need us there. We helped nearly 16,000 clients in this through the history, and we have team of 40 consultants that are based in these offices across the country. Most of our consultants have already like experience living abroad, again for like Erasmus, studying there, or going for an internship or something like that. So we know how it feels to live in a different country. We understand the issues and the matters that you need to take care of. Of course, that we thank God, I would say, we have some successes also, that we were chosen as the company of the year, for example, or the franchise of the year of the public choice. So that's something that we are proud of. We are also members of Czech Association of Franchising. We are in the Brno Expat Center referral program, and we are a supplier member of the EURA, how to say it in English, EURA, EURA relocation, big relocation company. Here you can see our visions that we follow in everyday work. So we think that life is full of possibilities, that you can basically do everything you want to. So that's your case, that you decided to study in a different country. You are doing this big step of your life. We try to make you feel at home always. So anything is bothering you as a non-Czech speaking person, or you have any issue, you can get to us and we will help you out. We understand different, as we mentioned, we have our own experience from living in a foreign country, so we know what may be the troubles in that case. And we also try to make the Czech Republic popular abroad, because we want more foreign people to come, so the Czech Republic becomes more multicultural. And we are proud of the Czech Republic, even though we don't have the best president, the best politicians or anything like that. We still think that it's from mentioned what before that I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, that there are many great things about the Czech Republic, for example, the health system and people. So that's what we are also trying to tell the world. We are always trying to do win-win-win conclusion in any situation. So each side, it's not a compromise, but each side is happy with either it's some immigration issue or moving to an apartment or something like that. And we help with basically anything you need to. We will show you in a little bit the scope of our services, but it's from immigration to apartments, through driving license, health insurance, or anything like that. So you can see it here, you can see it on our website, furnus.cz. Hopefully we are gonna do also more events now, because we had to stop, obviously, because of the global pandemic. So actually, if you are in Prague already now in September, or you're gonna be, we are doing our meetup again, an informal gathering of international people in Prague, and it will be on September 23rd. So you are definitely invited. You can find it on our Facebook. We will get to the social media links at the end of this presentation. So it's called September Meetup, and it's happening on September 23rd at 7 p.m. at Oko Bistro. So you are invited. You will meet other people who've been maybe living in Prague for a long time, or they may be newbies as well. So it's a great opportunity to share your experience, ask each other questions, and simply having fun with other international people. So that's for Prague. Within the other cities, we will see how it goes. Hopefully, the country won't be shut down again or something, and we will be able to do the events, because that's something that we enjoy. And I think it's important for international people to know another international people, meet their Czech people as well, and simply like communicate.
Share their experience.
Exactly. Oh, that's something from my laptop here showing. I have to cancel it. I'm sorry. Okay, good. Here we go.
We can't see it, Lucy. Don't worry.
Yeah. Okay. I know it was just comment for myself.
Yeah.
Do you want me to?
Yes, I want you to. Thank you.
So now we are moving on to accommodation, which is something Ben mentioned that you're going to be wanting to hear about. So as you know, you have two options when it comes to living in the Czech Republic. You can live in the halls of residence, or dorms in American English, or you can live in private apartments. When it comes to the dorms, they are quite cheap, I would say. At Maastricht University, you will pay about 100 crowns per bed per night, which counts up to about 3,000 Czech crowns a month, which is about 100 pounds for a month. You usually have to share if you're doing the dorms, so there are about 3 to 4 beds in the room. There's a shared kitchen, and there's a bathroom in the hallway. So, you know, there's something to consider, like whether you want to share with other people or you want to like pay more money and have more privacy. But usually people enjoy the dorms. So it depends on also whether you're an introvert or whether you're an extrovert, or, you know, it's very individual, I would say. Usually there's a gatehouse in the dorms, so people can't just go in and out. You have to check in usually. And there are usually no visitors allowed after a certain hour. But it doesn't mean that you can't have visitors at all. You just have to always check in with the people at the reception, basically. The other option, of course, is a private apartment. These are slightly more expensive than the dorms, obviously, but for the price, you will get more comfort, you get privacy, and you get your own bathroom, which is very important to some people. Me, definitely. Other factors impacting the price are also whether it's furnished or not. So you can move into an apartment that has no furnishings at all. But for you, if you're not going to be here for years and years, it might be more beneficial if you get a furnished apartment. So that can make the price higher, obviously. The price also depends on the size, obviously, and the location. Obviously, if you're going to live in the center of Prague, it's going to be more expensive than if you live in the suburbs. And also it depends on if you're going to share with a roommate or not. So when it comes to the price, it can be from 140 crowns to 280 crowns per bed per night, which comes up to about 4,300 crowns to 8,500 crowns a month, which is about 145 to 287 pounds a month, as you can see. What you can also do, and this is something that we definitely recommend in Brno, is you can live in co-living residences, which I think is a good compromise between the two, because you can still share certain spaces with people, but you have your own privacy. So for example, in Brno, we have Domek, which is a co-living residence that we operate. And then in Prague, there's, for example, Fizz, which is a similar residence, and we'll talk about it a little bit. When it comes to accommodation standards in the Czech Republic, you can get all sorts of sizes of apartments. You can get a studio apartment, you can get a 1-bedroom apartments. Those are probably going to be the most common for you guys when you come study here. We call those 1KK, 1+1 or 2KK. But you can also get bigger apartments, obviously, which is good, especially if you're going to share, because you can split the rent.
I would just step in that the KK means that you have the kitchen and living room like one space. It's not like one extra room either. Whether you have 1+1, this one is like that you have another room. So the kitchen is like the room that is separated.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
Yeah. But when it's a KK, it means that the KK, the kitchen counter, basically is in the one. So it's all one room.
It's an open plan living room, basically, where you'll have your living room, your dining area, and your kitchenette.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, in one area.
Yeah,
it's a very efficient European style kitchen. It will be the sink, the dishwasher, the washing dryer, you know, or sometimes the washing machine is actually in the bathroom.
Most of the time.
Most of the time the washing machine is in the bathroom. So you'll have generally your kitchen, your oven, your hob, your extractor fan, and you'll have your dishwasher. Most apartments have dishwashers.
Yeah, but you may end up sleeping next to your fridge, but depends.
Sometimes.
But
it's very efficient, as Ben said. So what we recommend is that you get a 1-bedroom, because then you can have a guest room where you can study, for example, if you don't want guests, and then you have the extra space, which is always good if you're going to do a lot of hard studying. And if you share with people, it's always better to have your own room, because again, if you want to study, I know this from my experience, roommates are a distraction. So yeah. So like I said, separate rooms if you are sharing an apartment. We already mentioned this, when it comes to internet and Wi-Fi, you need to make sure when you're moving into your apartment and ask whether it's already there, or whether you need to make sure that somebody comes in and connect the internet, basically. Yeah, but again, if you do this through us, we are going to take care of that for you. So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. When it comes to heating, obviously we use heating during the winter season. The heating season usually starts in October-ish, when the temperature drops below 13 degrees in like 3 consecutive days. I think that's the rule. So you don't have to worry about like making sure that you're going to have heating at your apartment. It's going to be automatic for the most part. Air conditioning is not common. You're probably not going to care about air conditioning right now, but as Lucy said, in the summer it can get really hot, and as the temperatures have been going hotter lately, it's become quite a problem in the Czech Republic, because in historical cities we don't usually tend to have ACs. So maybe it's good to invest into a fan or something like that. Would be my advice for the summer. You don't have to think about that right now. Yeah, and their ACs are not really allowed in the historical centers, so that's also another reason why. As I already said, when it comes to furnishing, you can get your apartment unfurnished, partially furnished, or fully furnished. The unfurnished apartments will usually have only the kitchen unit and fridge. And also, this means that you will have to pay more money to get your apartment furnished. This is good if you want to stay here for longer, because then all the things at the apartment will be yours. And if something happens to them, you're doing damage to your own things. Partially furnished is a good compromise. You will have basic pieces of furniture like a bed, desk, and chair, and you can get some other things that you want there, for example, an armchair or a couch, and then you can, for example, sell it if you're moving back home after you finish your studies. And then the third option is good for people who know that they're going to be staying here for longer, is to get, or the other way around, for people who know they're going to do their studies and then they're going to leave, it's better if you get a fully furnished apartment, because then you don't have to worry about anything. It includes a wardrobe, a washing machine, sometimes even bedding. For example, in our co-living residences, you also get cutlery, pots and pans, so you don't even have to worry about spoons and cups. So that's always good to know.
Comfy.
When it comes to rent, as I said, it depends on location, size, and whether it's fully furnished or unfurnished. Also, what you have to think about is usually you will pay the rent, and then the utilities will be an extra cost. So usually what happens is you pay those monthly as advance payments for utilities, and then at the end of the year, the landlord or the owner of the apartment will give you the bill for them, and you can get some money back, or you might have to pay some extra, depending on how much have you used. So this is the heating, the water supply, and the electricity, sometimes gas if there's gas in the building. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. When you're moving into the apartment, you will also have to pay a security deposit, which is usually 1 to 3 monthly rents. So this is quite a big sum of money. So just make sure when you come here that you have that kind of money, because it's basically for the people who own the apartment, they need to know that you're going to have the money later to be able to pay the rent. So that's why they ask for so much money at the beginning. That's just the reason.
But you will get most of it back. So
yeah, that's important. That's important to mention. You will get most of it back. And this is something that we really care for about at foreigners to make sure that the people get their deposit back at the end, because it can be a problem as well. So if you rent your apartment through us, this is something that we will be really we will really keep an eye on for you. And sometimes you have to pay commission. That's usually the price of one monthly rent. You will pay this to the real estate agencies. So yeah, just make sure that when you get here, you set up your Czech bank account, as Ben said, so that you can already get your apartment, get your internet, and have everything set up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Guys, when you're setting up your bank account, you'll probably need an address in the Czech Republic. So don't worry if you haven't paid the deposits and things. If you have some cash with you or a credit card, things like that, that's useful to start off with. And then once you've got an address, then we can set up your bank account very quickly, and you'll be up and running within 5 days.
Mm-hmm. As you can see here, there are the average prices of accommodation in the Czech Republic. As you can see, there are quite big differences when it comes to the cities. Obviously, Prague is going to be the most expensive, and then it goes down through Brno, Hradec Králové, and Olomouc is going to be the cheapest. Olomouc is mainly a student city, and they know that students can't really afford to pay that much money. But Prague is not really a student city per se. So, and there are lots of rich managers living there, so that also reflects in the price. As I said, it also depends on whether the apartment is furnished, whether it's not furnished, how far away is it from the city center, and many other factors.
If it's old, new, location, we mentioned that if you're sharing the apartment, so it's like very variable, I would say.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the prices have been going up lately, but we are hoping that this crisis will, I think this is true for all of Europe and also America and the UK. So you all know what's happening when it comes to housing. So hopefully.
To give everyone some context, the economies in Central Europe, especially Czech Republic and Poland especially, have been growing at an alarming rate. In fact, now some Western Polish cities are just as expensive as British cities for apartments and things now, actually. So I know I've got students in Poznan who are paying just the same on rent as they would do in the UK now. So things have changed dramatically. But on the counter side to that, the quality of service is far in excess of what you will find in the UK. And I can vouch for that, being someone who travels ordinarily on a very regular basis.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now we are getting to what we can offer you when it comes to accommodation. So these are just examples of some of our apartments that we offer, one in Prague and one in Brno. As you can see, we really are into nice spaces where you can feel good while you're studying. For example, this apartment in Prague is a 1-bedroom. It's really spacious. It's 54 square meters. It's close to the city center. It's only 13 minutes walking to the first faculty of medicine. It's fully furnished, super cozy. There's a television with a satellite receiver. It already has a fast Wi-Fi internet. So this is one of the apartments that I talked about that's already fully furnished, and you can just move in and start living, and you don't have to worry about anything else. The rent would be 28,000 Czech crowns per month plus 1,600 crowns for utilities. And that link is clickable. So if you get the presentation, you will be able to go to our website and check out the apartment in its full glory. And then when it comes to Brno, this is one of our apartments in the industrial style, which has become really popular in Brno lately because people have been looking into Brno's roots as an industrial city. It's kind of similar to Manchester, I would say. So people have been building these really beautiful industrial apartments. So this one is a 1-bedroom apartment, also really close to the city center. It's a 50 square meters in a brand new building. As I said, industrial design style, really beautiful, but also cozy. As you can say in the picture, there's a really cozy looking sofa where you can just take a nap. And also it's really safe. That's really important to know. There are security cameras within the complex. There's also air recuperation within the apartment. So it actually exchanges the air for new air, and it's really ecologically efficient. The windows have 3 layers, so it isolates the sound from outside. And some of the apartments, I think this one as well, have outside blinds, so that if you are studying all night and then you want to sleep during the day, you can just shut the blinds and have a good night's sleep. So this particular apartment is 28,000 Czech crowns per month plus 2,000 crowns for utilities.
Yeah, and as Terry mentioned, it's in a complex, and I believe there are 2 left now. My last information from my colleague was there are 2 more apartments available.
As I already mentioned, what's really popular, and especially in Brno, because this is our complex, is co-living residences. So this co-living residence, this particular one, is called Domek, which translates as little house to Czech. But as you can see, it's not really a little house. It's a huge building. In fact, there are now 3 buildings, Domek 1 and Domek 2 and 3. Domek 1 was built in
4 years back, I believe.
4 years back,
2017.
And it's a really comfortable co-living residence where you can use various services. It's been really popular with students, with digital nomads, and with managers from all over the world who come to Brno to work at IBM and other
IT
big
people,
tech companies. Yeah. There are private rooms with bathrooms, so you don't have to share like if you lived in the dorms. And then there are common spaces, as I talked about, that includes this huge lounge where are desks where you can work, study. There's also a study room where you can go and just shut yourself in the study room. It's going to be more quiet. There's also a chill out zone to rest where you can play video games or watch a movie. There's a gym, which is very popular. Then there's a laundry room and 2 spacious terraces where you can, chill or study.
These kinds of concepts are actually quite in vogue at the moment, aren't they, guys? As I've seen these, as people, especially as more people work digitally and work all over the world, they'll often find spaces like this where Domek has taken its inspiration from. In fact, for those of you that perhaps have been looking at UK universities, a lot of UK universities have linked up with either on their own campuses or directly with systems like similar to Domek, where effectively you live in an apartment, but you're not isolated. You're part of a community where you can, have a joint gym or, can have a chill out area. That's and then some people stay for a long period of time. Some people stay just for a few months if they're there for a short project or something like that. And it's a very modern, but also more cost reasonable way to live as well.
Yeah, I would say it's the perfect compromise between living in the dorms and living in an apartment. What's really unique about Domek is that if you live in Brno, and you can sometimes get anxious about being a foreigner in the Czech Republic, and Domek is an extremely international place. There are people from all over the world, international students from other countries, so you can actually share this experience of being new in the Czech Republic, which has been, we've been getting feedback from foreigners that they really appreciated having that opportunity to talk to other foreigners and expats in the Czech Republic. Domek 1 is currently fully full, fully booked, but there are going to be some free spots from October, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so because it's become so popular, now we have Domek 2 and 3, which are just about being completed. So also from October, there are going to be apartments available at Domek 2 and 3. They're going to be slightly more luxurious than the apartments in Domek 1. For example, while Domek 1 doesn't have air conditioning, there is going to be air conditioning at Domek 2 and 3. There are also balconies. There are these cute mezzanine apartments. It's not the word, mezzanine apartments. The apartments where you can go up the stairs. That's what I mean.
So yeah, like a duplex.
Something like
yeah,
that.
like a duplex, exactly. Yeah, so they're like, it's industrial style. So these are like, they're going to be like these spiral yellow staircases, reminiscent of like fire buildings in America, I would say. It's very cool, but also cozy. So like, it's the perfect combination. People who live in Domek 2 and 3, it's very close to Domek 1, so they will have access to all of the common spaces in Domek 1. And then yeah, we've been able to see inside, and it looks really cool. So you can already pre-book your place there. Again, as we said, from October, if you email us at brno@foreigners.cz. The rent is going to start at 11,500 Czech crown. It's going to go up depending on the type of the apartment. And then the utilities and all the services are extra that you can have at Domek.
Domek 1, 2, and 3 are in the same area. It's like a little campus or something.
Yeah, they're next to each other. There's a river that flows
restaurants,
through the apartments.
cafes,
Lidl
like
is really close by, so if you need your groceries, you can just walk into Lidl. It's like right next to it.
It's and great access to public transport as well.
Yeah, there's a tram, there's a bus.
Okay.
Do you want to?
Do I want to about the current COVID situation? Well,
we can if we move on to the COVID situation, is that okay? Because there are questions on that, and I've actually got some stuff on my desk that can help with that on my desktop as well, so I could share mine.
Yeah, if you have any questions about accommodation.
As for these accommodation options that we name, we have of course more, so you can just go to our website foreigners.cz, and you can use Ben as a contact, or you can use our email. You can send us a message on social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, that you are interested in this particular apartment, a place, and we will get back to you. Now it's the hot season, it's the top season, so many foreign people are coming.
Students,
so we are busy with apartment, the clients who are looking for accommodation. So I would advise you to be fast, and if you really want something, that get back to us, because it can be gone in a.
I did send an email out to everyone that actually came from Lucy. So everyone who's had that email, it was attached to an email that I did send out. So everyone does have your contact details. Depending on the city you're in, it's dead easy to get in contact with foreigners. All you need to do is change the name of the city in front of @foreigners.cz. So if you want to get in contact with the people in Prague, just put Prague@foreigners.cz, or Brno, or Olomouc, or Hradec Králové. Yes? Or is it HK? I can't remember how you do that one for the Hradec Králové email. Is it
Hradec, only Hradec.
Just Hradec. So it's just Hradec@foreigners.cz. So just use Prague, Brno, Olomouc, or Hradec @foreigners.cz, and you'll get in contact with the different people, whether it's Martin and Martin in Hradec, or the team in Brno, or the big team in Prague as well. The big office is in Brno. For those students that have immigration queries that come through the year, Aldrich, who's based in the Brno office, is the expert, and he can obviously jump on a Zoom call or something with you if you have any queries on that as well. So you don't have to, if there's a specialist in another city who's better suited to your inquiry, the team will set up a meeting with that individual.
So here is how you can get in touch. Again, the links are clickable if you get to this, if you have the presentation. You can subscribe to our newsletter. It's on foreigners.cz/newsletter, very easy. And Terry is actually in charge of the newsletter, so she's sending that 3 times a week at 9 a.m. on working days, where you get like the updates of what's going on in the Czech Republic, anything regarding like some news from the country and COVID situation, some sum up of some interesting articles from our blog, and some tips and invitation to events. So it again can be practical for you. You can read our blog.foreigners.cz, where we have practical information. Since we were talking about getting your money back that you pay at the beginning to live in the apartment, you can find out like the tips how to actually be careful about stuff, so you don't do any damage and things like that. You can go to our website, and as mentioned many times today, we are on almost all social media, so Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can find us on LinkedIn, so wherever you can follow us and you can get in touch with us. And we are very happy that we could spend this time with you today, and we are excited to get in touch with you and see you here in the Czech Republic, either it's Brno, Prague, Olomouc, or Hradec Králové. Anything you want to add?
I don't think so. I'm just really excited for people to come here. I think it's a great place for students. I mean, I'm biased, but especially Brno
Yeah,
is a great place for students to live.
Yeah.
So we're excited to maybe meet you in person at a meetup or something.
And
so.
maybe one little note from me at the end that I forgot to say earlier, because in the previous years in London, we've got that question from parents who are maybe a little bit scared to send out their kids to the Czech Republic. It's safe here, guys, comparing to other countries. So the criminality is really like on a low level, and we go to the libraries, as I mentioned, study in the evening, and students are getting back home late and they are walking to their homes. And I have to say that I don't have any bad experience, never had, and that you don't have to be.
If people want a comparison, Lucy, Czech Republic is currently ranked between Singapore and Japan in terms of safety.
So,
and I've traveled in many countries, and like I said, in places like South Korea, Singapore, you're more likely to have someone running after you with your wallet if you've dropped it. In London, if you drop your wallet, someone will be running with your wallet, but in the opposite direction. The Czech Republic is extremely safe from that perspective as well, and the public transport's efficient and extremely cheap, both in the cities and Intercity, which I'm going to talk about briefly with students. Is it okay, guys, if you just hang around just for a minute while we go through some of the questions that are on here now, because a lot of students are actually watching this presentation in the recording. A lot of people are actually traveling this weekend for the enrollments, and that's why a lot of people couldn't turn up. And they did ask, is it being recorded, which I'm glad we are doing, despite that little blip in the middle of the presentation, but we didn't miss anything, which was good. Someone said about police registration. I think we've dealt with that in the presentations there. So yes, if you've got your long stay visa, 3 days after, 3 working days after quarantine if you're in self-isolation, okay? And then someone said, can you provide good information on non-university dormitories and flats, which is being covered in detail here. Now, what we've got next is a question that I know is going to be on everyone's lips, and I'm going to talk about it now, and I've got some details that I will share on the screen. So I'm just going to change, I'm going to end your screen sharing, guys, if that's okay. And I'm going to share my own screen, which everyone can see here. Right. Arrival in the Czech Republic regarding COVID. The rules have changed, and in a good way. Now, I'm going to use a few different sites here, okay? There are 2 ways to go to the Czech Republic. If you are not vaccinated with one of the approved vaccines for the Czech Republic, okay, then you will have to have your long stay visa. There's no short stay visa stays if you don't qualify under these vaccinations here. So if you want to enter the Czech Republic on a short stay visa or your 90-day visa free, that is doable if you meet these criteria here. If you have your long stay visa, then you can enter the Czech Republic regardless of this, but there will be different rules. So if you're coming to the Czech Republic visa free or on a short stay visa, you would have to be fully vaccinated with one of these vaccinations, with the second vaccination being at least 14 days before your arrival in the Czech Republic. And your certificate needs to come from one of these countries. And you see the UK is here. So if you have your COVID vaccination certificate, and in the UK, we have the NHS one, then you need to bring that with you, and the airlines will check that before you depart for the Czech Republic. So please make sure this website's on the Czech Ministry of Foreign Affairs website, it's directly, and it's under entry and residence, and then you can get entry rules to the Czech Republic. So here's the vaccines: AstraZeneca, or Moderna, or Pfizer, or the single Johnson & Johnson, or the Covishield. And it has to be one of the countries whose vaccination certificates the Czech Republic recognizes. Okay, so please check this link here, okay? And it will be on this in Czech, but if you want it in English, quite simple, any EU member state or one of these territories or countries here. Now, for those coming from the UK, you will need not just simply the app that's on the phone, you will need to request a PDF, which then is delivered via the app, and it has 2 barcodes on it, one for each of the 2 vaccinations you've had, and order it so you make sure that the expiry date is there before you arrive. Okay, that's very important that you do that. And you will also need to fill in a passenger locator form, which you can click on the link from the Foreign Office website, okay? Or you can find a link here. But this is what you need to fill in. It will generate a PDF that you will have to print as well, I believe, okay? But you will need to fill this in with all of the details, where you're staying in the Czech Republic, whether you're staying in one place or two places like I will be when I come, okay? And once you fill that in, send that and make sure that's registered before you enter the Czech Republic. What I would also advise people to do is if you're transiting, some countries have specific rules if you're transiting their territory as well. So I'm flying into Vienna. Now I'm going to fill in a passenger locator form for Vienna as well, although I don't necessarily need to, but I don't want to actually have any difficulty when I get to Vienna airport. So I'm going to fill in that one as well. However, if you are transiting, especially if you're flying into Germany or Vienna and traveling over land, you will need to show evidence as well of your onward travel from the country you're arriving in. The one thing you need to invest in now, if you haven't already done so as well, is these Ffp2 masks. So as you can see, I've heavily invested in them, and this is only one of the boxes I've got. In the UK, while we allow any kind of face covering, whether it be a bandana or a mask, in many countries there is a legal requirement to have a certain grade of mask. And the best one is Ffp2, which is the most broadly accepted one. Okay, so please, you can buy these in the pharmacies across the whole of the Czech Republic, I believe, can't you, ladies?
Yes.
But my advice is take a supply with you. If anyone wants them, I'm selling them at £100 a mask. I'm not, honestly, in Berna next week, but you can buy them. I got these off Amazon, arrived in a day or two, pretty cheap. I think I bought 40 for about £10 or something like that, or £15. That will now last me for a significant amount of time. And again, you can keep reusing these masks as well, okay? There is a mandatory requirement to have them on public transport, in many flights, also in shops and malls as well. Now, if you're vaccinated from one of those particular regions, you can enter the Czech Republic with no PCR test pre-departure, no PCR test on arrival, and you don't need to self-isolate. However, if you are arriving and need to self-isolate, then there are slightly different rules. You will need to self-isolate for a full 5 days. You will need a PCR test before you depart, no earlier than 72 hours before your arrival. And you can only end your self-isolation once you've had a PCR test between 5 to 7 days afterwards. That's also come back negative. However, in addition, if you're not vaccinated and having to self-isolate, you need to wear one of these masks all the time you're outside of your apartment, including on the streets, for a full 14 days after you've completed your self-isolation, okay? I've checked these rules with the embassy on multiple occasions to make sure we've got it exactly right. So please, regardless of whether you're vaccinated or not, you do need to have a supply of Ffp2. I think N95 is the other one that's given to this as well. Into a supply of these regardless. However, if you are unvaccinated and have to go through the self-isolation, you do need to wear these for 2 weeks at all times you're outside of your apartment, including outdoors, including in the park, including on public transport, including down the streets, if you are not vaccinated. Now, please do make sure that you have all the documents that you need when you check in at the airport or when you're entering the Czech Republic, because your documents are going to be checked, possibly multiple times. So please make sure you have them with you. Have that vaccination certificate. I'm going to have mine in a plastic folder to make sure I don't need to rush around to find a printer to get another one, okay? You can download it from the NHS app for those that are coming from the UK, or there is a list of different systems which are accepted. Please check with the Czech embassy in the country that you're traveling from if you have any queries on that, okay? If you have to self-isolate, you have to self-isolate. It's going to be dull, but believe me, it's with Netflix and things like that, it is possible to do that a lot quicker than perhaps it was back in the 90s if it had happened then, or certainly back in 1918 when we had Spanish flu, which I don't remember clearly. Okay, so please, that's one thing you need to do. You need to fill in the passenger locator form, okay? One thing that was mentioned as well was health insurance, okay? You can buy foreigners' health insurance very easily, very quickly online, and there's a question on this right here, okay? This is the site which is specifically dealt for foreigners' health insurance. This is set up specifically for those who are English speaking. This is not the interface that local people will use to buy theirs as a Czech citizen. You can buy the comprehensive insurance here or here, but don't buy this until you've had your email from the embassy that your visa has been approved, okay? If you're coming to the Czech Republic visa free for 90 days, yes, have the health insurance in case you get ill, but when you collect your visa, you will need to show evidence of this health insurance in order to collect your visa. What the Czech embassies have been doing more recently is requiring evidence of this to email them before you go to collect your visa, so they're fully certain that when you turn up, it's not going to be a wasted journey, okay? Is there anything you girls want to share about this? Because this is just what our students have been doing.
We covered that, I think, briefly, the
okay.
health insurance.
Yes, we did.
And also help.
Well, you can buy it here very easily. It's all in English. And as you'll see quite clearly, it's accepted by Migration Asylum Policy of the Ministry of the Interior. And this is PVZP. This is the health insurance that you are going to be required to have now as a foreigner coming to the Czech Republic. Okay, so that's that one. So what we've covered there is the rules for entry, the masks that you're going to require, passenger locator form, okay? All of this is on the British Foreign Office website or on the Ministry of the Interior website. If anyone wants me to share this afterwards, I'll definitely share the links, okay? Returning to the UK, yes, Linda, you do need to take a PCR test before you return to the UK. I've already pre-booked mine. There are plenty of sites to do it. To have the PCR tests and have the certificate costs 1,000 krones. So it's not that expensive. If you want to give me a ring, Linda, I can send you the links directly, okay? Someone's asked, I've completed the Pfizer vaccine from Singapore. Will it be acceptable? At the moment, Singapore doesn't appear on this list. So what I would do is contact the Czech embassy in Singapore to see what they would advise. It might be that you do have to self-isolate. I'm surprised that Singapore isn't on this list. I was expecting it to be, but please do check with the Czech embassy because they may have information that's not yet been updated on this site here, because this was last updated on the 21st of August. Okay. Right. Someone says, I have a G-HIT card issued by the NHS. Will I need foreigners' health insurance? If you're a non-EU citizen applying for a visa, you need the health insurance. If you're an EU citizen with settled status in the UK, your G-HIT card will cover you for certain care, but it won't provide the level of care that a comprehensive policy will cover. It's mainly there for emergency care if you fall ill or have an accident or something like that. For something more complex that may require rehabilitation afterwards or something that wouldn't be considered an emergency, then it is better to have the health insurance anyway. And it's not that expensive for what you get, okay, because it is subsidized, okay? Let's have a look. And there was possibly some questions. Okay, bus cards. The public transport systems in each city is run by that city. So what will happen is if you have a public transport card for Brno, it will cover you on all the trams, trolleybuses and buses in Brno, hop on, hop off as much as you like for the period of validity, okay? And you buy that at the DPMB Bureau in not far from the train station in Brno. For Brno, you have to do that after you've got your ISIC card, and that's how you get the student permit, okay? In Olomouc, it's a little bit easier. For those, if you're going from Intercity, here's my advice. You can pre-book your Intercity travel here at RegioJet, and it's, again, all in English, and it's really easy to use. Or if you're using the national train carrier, Czech Language, you can do that here. For those that are getting a bit confused, if I'm just going to show you something here, you'll notice if you type in Prague, it will not appear. Okay, all right. You have to type it as in Praha. Okay, Prahy, the actual Czech version of it. And HLN is Hlavní nádraží, which means main train station. Aren't you impressed with my Czech there, Lucy?
Yes,
Been practicing
getting
long enough.
better every year.
So, yeah, it's better. Well, not from last year because I didn't travel last year, but you can easily book tickets on here. Now, most train tickets, if you book them on Czech Drake here, are valid for a full 24-hour period, unlike in the UK, where you're often isolated to a particular train or a particular period. However, a ticket on Czech Drake will not necessarily cover a yellow train on RegioJet because they're a different company. Generally speaking, you can get, say, from Olomouc to Prague on Czech Drake or RegioJet. You've got different options, and you're not going to pay more than a few euros for a basic ticket. And I'm on about a few euros. If you want to have first class with food and champagne, yes, you can do that, and you'll pay the vast sum of about 20 euros to do that, because it is significantly cheaper than what you're going to have in the UK. But if you want to keep it on a budget, I'm going from Brno to Prague. Let's just give you an idea. So Brno bus station to Olomouc, I would say, sorry, just to give you an idea what that's going to cost you, just as a particular random date. I often take the bus from Brno to Olomouc and vice versa. And as you can see, you can get the 1 hour bus journey for €3.60 or €4, okay? And you get free coffee as well, okay? You would pay more than that for a coffee in Costa in the UK. You get coffee and a bus ticket for an hour for something like €3, okay? And the other thing with this is if you book it and don't want to travel on that one, you can change it or refund it 15 minutes before the actual journey. So as long as you don't go in that 15 minutes before your journey, you can often get a full refund. So you'll find the service and flexibility in the Czech Republic is often a lot more evident than it would be, say, in the UK. So you'll get used to these websites that all can be converted into English, all work very effectively, and all the tickets are e-tickets that you can have on your phone, your email, or print off should you want. But regardless of that, you always need to wear your FFP2 mask if you're traveling on any public transport or taxis within the Czech Republic. What I would say for Prague, I think our guests will also advise on this as well, is you can use Uber in Prague, and it's a lot better using Uber in Prague than it is flagging a taxi down, because you're going to pay a significant amount of money potentially to flag a taxi down in Prague compared to using Uber. And you can do that at the airports as well when you arrive. Okay, but in Brno you won't need to do that. It's small. You can get from place to place very easily on the public transport. Your ISIC card, you get it once you're at the university. Okay. All the prices that were quoted for the accommodation were per month, so please take a look at that and have a look if utilities are included or not, as the guys at Foreigners said. But as I said, the other thing that Foreigners provide for you, which is very good in that first year, if you rent an apartment through them, is an emergency phone line if you have a problem, and that's 24-hour manned as well. An example of what could go wrong: a student had an apartment once, lost his keys when he'd been out in the evening, couldn't get into his apartment. What does he do? He needs a locksmith to let him into his apartment to provide a replacement key. Are you going to find a locksmith at night who can speak English very easily? Possibly not. But you can phone up Foreigners at 11 o'clock at night on their 24-hour helpline, and they can arrange the locksmith for you to come and visit you, let you into your apartment until you can get a replacement key from your landlord, etc. Okay. While calling Foreigners is included in your fee, obviously the locksmith isn't going to be, but at least you're going to pay the right price that you'd pay. Okay. I think we've dealt with the insurance. The name of the mask required is an FFP2, or I think an N95 is the other name I've heard for these masks. Okay, FFP2. You can get them. Since COVID started, the production of these masks has gone up astronomically, so you can now get them at the fair price that they should be. Okay, someone's asked about the certificate in Ghana. Ghana's not on that list, I'm afraid, so please speak to the embassy in Ghana or in Abuja, where their nearest embassy is. Okay, so Linda, coming from the UK, your COVID pass from the app, printed off as a PDF, passenger locator form, and your respirator FFP2 mask is what you will need, provided you're double vaccinated, of course. Public transport pass, we've dealt with that. If you're going without your student visa for 90-day visa free, take the documents for your entry to the Czech Republic? Yes, basically. You take anything that you've got. So if they're asking for your reason to be in the Czech Republic, just make sure that you've done that. Now, for British students and British citizens arriving in the Czech Republic, there's a different queue to go in now. You used to be able to use the EU queue where you would casually wave your passport and be allowed in. You now have to go in through the all passports area, and you will have your passport stamped as well, I believe. That is a big change for British people now traveling. I'm hoping over the next 12, 24 months, things will change and become a lot more amenable. But unfortunately now you do have to have your passport stamped. We are third country citizens now. And for those that perhaps want to visit their sons or daughters on a British passport in the Czech Republic, you've got 90 days in any 180-day period to stay within the Schengen zone. Now that's important. That means, let's say, for example, you go on vacation for 80 days in Germany, and then later on in the year, you want to enter the Czech Republic. In the 180-day period, you could only spend another 10 days in the Czech Republic because it's part of the Schengen zone. So please just be aware if you're a parent and visiting the Czech Republic to visit your son or daughter, you do need to include any other visits to any other of the Schengen member countries in that 90-day period within that 180-day window. So if you arrive in on day one, you have 90 days, effectively 3 months within that 6-month period from your first entry to remain visa-free in that Schengen member state. So that includes Latvia, Estonia, it includes Switzerland, Germany, France. So if you have an apartment in France or a villa in France that you stay in, and you're staying there for 80 days and you haven't got a residency permit, that means you've only got another 10 days to visit to the Czech Republic. So please do take care on your time. In addition, passport rules, the passport must be no longer than 10 years old. Now, sometimes we're allowed extra time on our passports in the UK if you renew it earlier. The minute that your passport has gone beyond its 10-year start date, it wouldn't then be classified as valid for the Czech Republic. So please have a look on when your passport started. Mine has about an extra year on mine, but I will need to renew it. So I've got a 90-day, 3-month expiry period, 10 years before when it was issued. So the expiry date on your passport, it really is not necessarily when that passport will expire for the Czech Republic now. So quite a lot of things have changed due to Brexit, okay? Please make sure that you have that full 3 months at the end of your passport, and that 3 months needs to be within 10 years of your passport being renewed or being issued. If the British Passport Office have changed their rules now, so you can't get the added on time at the end of that because they don't want people falling foul of these regulations. And also it means you have to renew your passport more often, so they get a bit more cash from you, granted. But please do make sure that your passport is valid for entry to the Czech Republic. If you're coming on a British passport, which was previously a European Union document, it no longer is, even if it's burgundy, and even if it has the word European Union emblazoned on the top of it, it still is now classified as a non-EU document, okay? Quite complex, but this is the first year now that this has actually happened for Brits, so it's something that we do need to be aware of. Right, I'm going to let Lucy and Teresa go, guys, but if you've got any last minute questions, please do pop them in now, and then we're going to skip on to our next presentation before we finish off around about 12:15, 12:30 time UK. Any other questions, please fire them off now. If there are no other questions, I'm going to say thank you so much to Lucy, who's leaving us soon.
Terry will be here.
Yeah, Lucy's leaving Foreigners now, being a loyal employee for the last 5 years or so.
Loyalty. Now it's time to go.
Time for a change.
But this girl here, so she will be.
So I will probably call into the office in Brno on Tuesday or Wednesday next week, possibly Wednesday when I go for my COVID test in the morning. Mm-hmm. Okay, all right.
Well, thank you so much. It was a great time. And wish you all the luck within your travels and safe patience and safe arrival to the Czech Republic, and enjoy your studies. And we will be in touch with Ben.
It's just a pity, Lucy, that the last 2 debriefings have had to do online and not in London like we would usually do. I know you love visiting London. Who doesn't? But I'll pass them across again. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Have a great time. Thank you, guys.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Take
so
care.
much.
Bye
I'll
bye.
let you guys go. Okay.
Bye.
Bye now. Okay, so we've said bye to Lucy and to Teresa. We're going to go through a brief presentation now, which is something I give to students before they depart for various countries. I know a few people are having to leave us now, so we're not going to spend too long on this presentation, but we're going to start where we left off. And we're going to think about your life as an international student, because for many of you who have traveled, perhaps this is the first time that you've traveled as a student or studying anywhere for any long period of time. So you're going to be surrounded by a lot of different things over the next few days, and there's going to be a big culture shock which you're going to experience over the next few weeks, months. And what I call this is the international student onion. So you are a student at the center of this, and surrounding you there's going to be lots of things that are going to influence you and your behavior and your feelings, and some of those are going to be quite close to you on a daily basis, and some of them are going to be more kind of distant, really, and that's how we separate these things out. You're going to be in a new academic environment, and you're going to have to deal with a lot of things in the classroom and on a daily basis, and they're perhaps going to be different than your experience at school or perhaps university or education in another country that you've experienced before. In addition, you're going to be dealing with the different structure of the university, which could include things like booking exams, things that are going to be quite new to you, things that will be explained at the start, but you're going to be swamped with so much information, you're not necessarily going to be able to process it or take it all in very quickly. And then you're also going to deal with things like culture, student culture in universities, which might be different than, say, what you've experienced before, as well as the culture in a new country. And the thing that students often find difficult is that transition from the academic experience they've had at the start to where they are now going into university. Things like timetable, finding your way around different buildings, different rooms, different teachers, perhaps a different way of being taught, perhaps a switch away from more didactic forms of teaching to more investigative forms of teaching, which you will have to be perhaps a more self-motivated learner. And one thing you will find in the Czech Republic is you will have a lot of work to do outside of the classroom in your own time that needs to be done to prepare for another lesson later on in the week. Assessment, how are you assessed? One thing that's going to be very different is you will find that you have much more regular assessments of your academic performance or academic progression in medical school in the Czech Republic than perhaps what you've been experienced for previously, especially those who come through an A-level system or over the last 2 years where assessment has been very different than how it usually would be due to school closures and different assessment strategies. One thing you're going to have to get used to is being able to argue and defend your points verbally and orally compared to how perhaps you've done so in the past, because most of the exams that you will have are going to be oral exams or practical exams that perhaps are a new aspect for you in your educational journey. One thing to think about is what's expected of you at each year as you go through your tuition in the Czech Republic, okay? So what's expected of me to pass the exam in anatomy or biophysics? What level do I need to get a basic passing grade, to get a very good grade, or get the exceptional grade? Where can you get all this information? Well, there are multiple sources that you can get it from. Thankfully, all of the universities will have an induction period, and you will have the chance to meet other students who have gone through this process. And we've done some presentations earlier this year with Dylan and with Aaron and with Taran Preet at different points in the academic year. So if you want to start getting a handle on some of this information, go to our YouTube channel, do hit the subscribe button, and then go through the different webinars that we've done that involve students. Okay, it's a really good source of information to speak to those students who are in the 4th, 5th, 6th year of the course, because they will start to give you the pointers so you can actually save time and prepare yourself and be a more strategic learner than perhaps if you're trying to do this all yourself at the start, because you will find this a very different experience, and it can be quite a daunting experience when you get to start. It can give you that what I call academic culture shock at the very start. You'll find that lessons can often start a lot earlier in the morning, sometimes 7:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock, which might be something different than perhaps what you've been used to previously. And then outside of the day-to-day, there's how is my program structured? When do my modules run? When are the exam periods? And how do I book the exams? And that's going to be something that's going to be quite different. You're going to have a lot more control about when you're assessed on the modules that you've been studying. Generally speaking, the earlier you can take your assessment, the better. So please, my advice is plan at the start when you're going to have your assessments, because if you've got your assessments booked in for a certain time, you're going to be more organized on preparing for that exam as you go through the course. While you will be registered individually as you start the program this year, as you go through your course, you're going to have to learn about how do I register year on year on year, okay, at the international office or somewhere else. And for some of the things we've talked about today, like registration with foreign police, they become a lot easier as you go through the program. They'll become things that become part of your normal annual routine, but that can be something perhaps which if you have a question now at the start, you can get answered, and that will just alleviate some of the stress that you will have as being a new international student. Now, where do you go if you're having a problem? If you're struggling academically, where do you go and how do you book in those extra tutorials or extra lessons, or where do you ask the questions? Really, the experience I have from students here would be no different than if you were, say, at a UK university. If you are struggling with something academically and you have already applied yourself to that subject and you've attended the lessons and attended the seminars, then you will find that you're pushing on open doors if you ask for help. But getting help is important to ensure that you actually get help in the right way. So it's being appreciative of, say, that the person you're requesting help from have got multiple roles and multiple jobs. And what you would need to do is first acknowledge that you're asking for additional help, that you've done the work yourself and you still have got some questions you need answers to, and that how can you fit into that person's diary so they can allocate time for you. Some lecturers will have protected time per week where you can pre-book in, so please make sure you do that, or some will require you to email them or call them or arrange a meeting in advance because they've got so many other commitments in their diary. One thing it's never good to do is just turn up to someone's office, knock on the door and say, I need help now. That's never really going to be good. And the more organized you are on arranging things like that, the more success you're going to have on getting the help that you need academically at the right time. If, for example, you've sat an exam and you perhaps not passed it the first time, and this happens to students because you need some time to learn perhaps where you went wrong, what is the procedure for booking your next exam? Most modules have up to 3 attempts. So what do I need to do to pass my second attempt? And when do I need to get it booked? And what have I not perhaps performed as well in order to actually pass the second time? And one thing that's quite different in the Czech Republic, say to British universities, is in British universities, your second attempt is always capped at the minimum passing mark. That is not the case in the Czech Republic medical schools. If you have to retake an exam, you can retake the exam. And if you score exceptional, you will get the exceptional grade given on your transcript, even if it's your second attempt. And then what about outside of academics? What about if I've got some other problems, perhaps medical problems or pastoral problems or financial problems, or I've got some questions related to something that's not academically relevant? Where do I go to get those things? Because the international office are going to be a great source of information, but they can't help with every problem if it's an accommodation issue or something like that, but they will be able to point you in the right direction, as will the student societies at the different universities, whether that be LF1 MedSoc at first faculty or the one at MIMSA at Masaryk University or TriMed at third faculty. Each of those faculties has its own student association, perhaps, which is probably the first place to go to because it's a less threatening environment than perhaps going to somewhere in a position of authority. And what do Czech students do compared to, say, British students? And there's a couple of differences you'll notice. In the UK, we have our student unions, and they're quite a big organisation with multiple different clubs that you can sign up for, whether it be athletic clubs. or cultural clubs, etc., or religious clubs. Things are going to be very different in the Czech Republic. And one of the biggest differences you're going to find is that the Czech Republic universities are what are called secular institutions. So they are separate from politics and separate from religion. So you will not find, say, as you would in a UK university, where you might have a Christian society or an atheist society or an Islamic society or a Hindu society in the student union, you're not going to find those kinds of societies as artifacts within a university in the Czech Republic, because the idea is that the university is equal for everyone, and there cannot be a sub-society which is exclusionary by its very nature of its title to other members of the community. You will find that things like freedom of religion, freedom of speech are protected in law, and you can practice your religion or your political beliefs or your cultural beliefs, but that has to be done outside of the walls of a university where everyone is considered universal and everyone is considered equal. And you'll find those are the kind of things which are perhaps going to be quite different than perhaps if you've gone through a university experience in the UK. But on a day-to-day basis, you're going to be dealing with perhaps a completely different culture. And one thing you're going to find in the Czech Republic, say compared to the UK or some other countries, is the interactions that people have. Czech Republic people are very warm, very welcoming, and very tolerant of people from outside, and you'll find English broadly spoken. But there are some things which are quite different. One of those things perhaps is the interaction you will have in shops. If you go to a shop, say in the UK, you will often smile at the other person. You might exchange some small talk with them on the other side of the counter, even though you don't know them. You will find that in the Czech Republic, that is not a norm. Because it's, as far as they're concerned, what they're doing is a transactional interaction where you want something that is on sale in their shop, you're going to exchange some money, and that's where the transaction then generally ends. So smiling is just not necessarily something that will be commonly done in comparison to, say, in the UK, where it's part of our breaking down the exchange into something that's less threatening or less awkward. That might be something which is quite different than perhaps you're going to find, say, in the UK. Humour is another thing. Yes, every culture has its own brand of humour and comedy. British humour is very based on things like sarcasm. That is something which is often lost in other languages and other cultures that don't necessarily have that concept of sarcasm. So humour is something going to be which you might say something to someone in a shop who you don't know, which they take as a joke because they know what sarcasm is. But in another country, perhaps the second language is English, they're not necessarily going to grasp that concept. And what you may say to them, they may think is actually offensive when it isn't. So just be aware that the normal daily interactions that you have with people in the UK, based on our normal use of our language and things like humour and our direct and indirect ways of speaking, and I'm going to touch on that shortly, may not necessarily be received the same way as it would be here. In terms of being direct and indirect, British people, or the way we develop our language, has been inherently indirect. So we would ask for something in quite an indirect way. We would say, good morning, I don't want to bother you, but please may I have X, Y, and Z. And it's kind of a polite form of not being as direct or demanding on someone in a shop who's there to provide a service. But that might be our version of being polite, but it takes a lot longer to do that than it perhaps does to be a more direct way. So you might say, for example, in a shop, please give me X, please give me Y, thank you, goodbye, at the end of it. And that might be the end of the interaction. To us, that might sound impolite because that's not the way we would often speak. However, in the Czech Republic, it's definitely not impolite at all. In fact, it's the norm. And if you watch local people go into shops and do the same thing, how they interact, they will do it with the locals the same way they would do it with you as an international member of a student, of a university, etc. And the one thing is pastime and social relaxation. What do we do here? What do they do there? Very, very different, perhaps. You'll often find that, and this is one thing you will, when you start your clinicals, is you will ask Czech citizens, well, as part of your taking a history, do you drink alcohol? And they might say, no, I don't drink alcohol. But then they may not include beer in that. So for example, if you say, well, do you drink beer? Yes, of course I drink beer, because beer wouldn't be considered alcohol in terms of things like spirits, etc. And you'll find the cafe and the beer culture is a lot more prevalent, perhaps in the Czech Republic, than it is, say, here in the UK, or if you're from the Middle East, etc. So when you arrive there in September, October, things are going to be fantastic because it's only going to be all new. You're going to taste Trdelník, which you've not tasted Trdelník before. It's amazing. I think I've got a picture of it in a short while. And you'll have basically like a holiday period where you're basically enjoying life as you're on holiday. But as the weather changes and you spend longer, that then becomes a bit more difficult after the first few months. And it's a question of which path do you take? You're going to have to adapt to this new culture, and you're going to change yourself. And by doing so, you will probably find that you have a lot more success in adapting to the new culture, and a lot more success in the classroom, because you've not got all these other stresses and strains that are causing a problem for you adapting to being in a new country. One thing I always warn our British students to do is not what we say, pull on the Union Jack boxer shorts, because you'll find that things can be quite different, and it's quite easy when you're struggling with changes to kind of say, well, it doesn't happen in Britain, so therefore I'm going to be more British from now on. You're living in another country with lots of different things, many things that are going to be better than the UK or the country that you're coming from, other things that you're going to find perhaps your culture or your country do better. It's a question of surrendering yourself to this new culture, to this new way that you're going to exist as an international student in a new country, and eventually accept it and become part of that community that you've then adopted for the next 5 or 6 years of your life. Okay, so perhaps think about, if you're having something difficult, having a difficult experience, what do you find annoying, upsetting, irritating, or rude? Why is that? And how could you look at that behavior in a more positive way? And a classic example is if you play football or a sport, volleyball. It's quite common in the Czech Republic, after you've completed playing some sports, to go for a beer. And if you're an international student and you're playing with locals, say part of a football team or something, you will be invited for a beer. But let's say, for example, you don't drink or don't want to be around places where alcohol is served for personal, cultural, or religious reasons. You might find it upsetting to constantly be asked, are you coming for a beer? Despite the fact that people that you play with know that you don't drink alcohol. How might that, you can see how that could be seen as negative, because you're constantly being asked to come for a drink. But rather than see it as a negative, well, perhaps see it as a positive, because being asked to come for a beer is the local way of showing that you've been accepted into their team, into their culture, even if you decide not to go. Being asked is polite, being asked is demonstrating a warmth and a friendship, rather than being seen as something which is necessarily negative or where you're feeling pressured. Okay, so examples, you will find beer everywhere in the Czech Republic. It's part of the national culture. So it might be something different than perhaps if you've come from, say, the Middle East or Southeast Asia, or even the UK, where while we do have pubs on every corner, you'll find that the consumption of beer is a lot more common in various parts of the society, where perhaps you wouldn't see it in the UK, for example, on public transport. And the other thing is this very strict separation between church and state. The Czech Republic is not a religious country. Religion is protected. Your freedom of religion is protected, but you will find that public displays of your religion are not necessarily as common as they would be in other countries. So there is a very strict separation between church and state, and that's especially evident in the university campuses. So do think about those things when you're wondering, why is things so different here than perhaps they are when in my own country or my own culture. And if you do that, you will have a more successful adaptation to life as a student. And that successful adaptation will lead to a greater engagement with your classroom and the different cultures that you're going to find. And you'll have a lot more positive academic experience than perhaps you would do if you found things too difficult and didn't want to try and adapt to the new environment you're going to be in. And some of the basic things, yeah, as Lucy and Teresa said before, it can get very cold. It's not a coastal country, it's landlocked, so you can have very hot summers, you can have very cold winters depending on how the climate is changing. So please do be prepared for that. It's very easy getting up on a pleasant spring morning in say March, April, but then it's compared to getting up on a bitterly cold, dark morning, say in December, January, February. If you have certain dietary requirements, find out quite early where you can get halal meat or kosher meat or vegan food if you need it. If you need medicines and you're on regular medication, do take a supply with you before you leave Britain or your own country until you've got established in the Czech Republic, so you can get your prescriptions there, okay? And find out more about the town, Prague, Brno, Olomouc before you go. The good news is I'm going to be present now in those different cities. I'm in Brno on Tuesday. I'm going to be in Olomouc all day Thursday. I'm going to write to each of you shortly with an itinerary of where I'm going to be and when we're going to get things done. But do find out a little bit about the local area. You'll find things like the trams. They all have apps that you can use to find out which tram stops to get on or get off at, and those things are going to be very easy. For parents who are also traveling as well, you can get multi-day tickets for the public transport in the area. And my advice is, don't just rely on taxis or Uber. Get used early to the public transport, even if you take the wrong tram. That's perfectly normal. That's how you find new places. Don't see it as a thing to get worried about. So I've showed these links before. You can book your train tickets on Czech Drake or RegioJet or Leo Express. If you do need a car, I recommend Prague Airport Transfers.co.uk. I've used them many times myself. Very easy to book online, and you'll find that perhaps if you've got a lot of luggage, that might be a better way to get you to the train stations, or even from one city to the next if you're willing to pay the higher price just for that added convenience. Now, you will be learning Czech as part of your course. You will have lessons on that, but there's no reason at this stage to delay on learning Czech. You can start learning the basics on YouTube. You don't need a Czech teacher to do that. Alternatively, I've been using Duolingo to learn Russian recently. I found it very useful, and it's something I can jump in and jump out of, but be consistent. Don't try to learn long lists of vocabulary. Don't try to learn too many grammar rules in one go, because that will confuse the hell out of you. Just learn the basic language that you need, whether it be names of foods, names of places, names of, like for example, the train station, hlavní nádraží, things like that. Learn the basics: hello, goodbye, thank you. Don't worry too much about your pronunciation at first. That will come the more you listen to people in the city or the town that you're in. Perhaps watch some Czech TV, listen to some Czech radio. You'll find that quite a useful tool as well. I think someone got a question. Okay, yeah, so some people are recommending Duolingo there as well. I've been using it. I've been finding it very useful as well for learning Russian. My Czech is okay, to be honest. I can get by. One thing I would suggest you do is very early into the program, try to find the local students, the students who are studying in the local language, learning in Czech. The reason for that is they want to practice their English. They will want to become better at English because they want to go and work in hospitals in Australia, New Zealand, the UK, Canada, the US. So they will want to practice their English. That's a great opportunity to sit down with someone over a coffee, perhaps just half an hour, 2 coffees. First 15 minutes is an English coffee, the second 15 minutes is a Czech coffee. And that way you will have very short extra lessons on how to speak the local language and learn more about the Czech Republic as a country. It will also give you the chance to kind of learn about different customs and different events and different cultural things that happen, because you'll find that, and I found this in Bulgaria, there are so many different things that you will be able to get involved with if you actually just ask. One of my graduates who's working in the UK now became a great Bulgarian dance student because he actually joined a local dancing group, and that's how he met a lot of other Bulgarians and developed his language and cultural awareness. If you learn something, write it down. If you learn a word, or you have an incident where you think, I need to remember that, have a piece of paper, have a little journal, write it down. That will also help with your written check as well, and it will also just reinforce the things that you're learning. If you write something down, you are more likely to remember it by the very notion of the fact that you're having to concentrate on writing it down. And don't isolate yourself. It's not good for your mental health. It's not good for your not good for your mental health, not good for your physical health, and it certainly isn't going to help you adapt. Get out there, do meet new people. If it's a bit scary at first, do it with some other students that you're already friends with on the English program, and then find out more about the environment and the place you're going to be in. There are different food festivals, beer festivals, wine festivals, dance festivals, different things that you'll be able to get involved in. If you're going to buy fresh vegetables and fruit, don't buy it from the supermarket. Go to the local market where the farmers sell directly, because then you will learn the names for potato, onion, tomato, pepper, and you'll learn them a lot easier than going to the local supermarket. And you're not the only person to do this. Just speak to those other students who are higher up in their year. They'll be able to give you a lot of advice about how they adjusted to life as an international student. Now, I've gone through that presentation quite quick because I do appreciate it is a Saturday and people do have other things to do, and we are going to sign off pretty quickly, and we've kept in time, which is good. So what I'm going to say, someone else here has said they found Duolingo very useful, and I definitely agree with that. And you don't have to pay for the actual premium version, you can use the free version. But what I'm going to say now is if you've got any final questions, then we're just going to briefly talk about what we're going to do over the next few weeks, about me assisting you in the Czech Republic. So, Brno, I am flying on Monday and I will be in Brno on Tuesday. I'll be there on Tuesday morning for the enrollment. After the enrollment, we will go to the town centre and we will coordinate a trip to the bank. I will send up details on how we're going to do that. For Olomouc on Thursday, after the enrollment, we are going to go and get things like SIM cards arranged. Well, no, we'll probably do this before the enrollment, actually. Get your SIM cards arranged, and then bank accounts and student travel permits. We'll do that all on the Thursday. It's extremely simple to do. Just wait for my email. So that's Brno from Tuesday and Olomouc on Thursday next week. The week after that, I'm flying to Prague on the 16th of September. I'll be there for the first faculty enrollment on the 17th, which is our biggest enrollment. Then on Monday and Tuesday the week after, I'll be spending at least one of those days in Prague, and I'm probably going to nip to Hradec Králové on one morning as well to meet the students that are enrolling there, to help all you guys get set up with your bank accounts, etc. I will send another email about that towards the latter part of next week once I finalize the agenda of that, but I will be there in those periods, so you will be able to count on my assistance in the Czech Republic. But like I said, you will be able to find a lot of the things that we're going to do are relatively simple, and I'll be sending an email out for those students who perhaps have not been able to arrive yet due to flights and visa or COVID restrictions, etc., to ensure that you're all fully kept up to date about what we're going to be doing and when we're going to be doing it and how to do it, more importantly. So we've answered a lot of questions today before. I think most of the questions I was expecting anyway, they were kind of the big questions. If there's any more questions, please just type them in now into the Q&A feature. I'm going to share both of the presentations that have been, both the one I've just delivered now, plus the one from foreigners. They're going to come out on email to everyone shortly. So I'll make sure that's done once this presentation has finished. Okay, someone said, what are the rules for taking food and drink to Czech? Saying that, please do not take anything fresh like meats or vegetables or fruits, okay? That is a no-no now. It has been a no-no for quite some time. Dried products, non-animal based products, things like that, they're okay. But please, nothing that's going to be like no meats or cheese or eggs or fruit or vegetables. Please don't take anything like that, okay? You will take a laptop. Yes, please do take a laptop or a MacBook. You will need it. Someone said, can we take spices? Yes, you can take spices. Spices are not barred at all. It's nothing effectively fresh that potentially can take pathogens with them, okay? Yeah, do take a laptop. You will need a laptop. You know, I use a Mac, but anything will work in the universities. And I will be sending an email out to each group of students about the bank details, etc. Very easy to do, okay, in Brno especially. So if you want a list of things you can't take, do just check on the Czech Ministry of the Interior website. But basically, as a rule of thumb, don't take anything which is effectively perishable or any animal product with you as you leave Britain or any other country into the Czech Republic. But spices, yes, not a problem. Okay, guys, any final questions before I will let you go and enjoy your weekend. Okay, I'm just checking if any more. I've had a couple of questions that I've dealt with on YouTube as well. So what I'm going to say, okay, someone's asked how easy to go about setting up a Czech bank account and SIM card. Really, really, really simple. SIM card you can buy from anywhere, pop it into a unlocked phone. Bank account, Nadia, for Brno, it's dead easy. We're going to use the KB Bank, which is right in the central town square. There's a student branch of that, which is kind of done in an open kind of pattern. Very easy to do. All you need to do is create an appointment with them, and they will actually then bring you in, and then you can set the bank account up there. Okay. ISIC card, you will get that from the university when you enroll. So when you've enrolled at the university, you will apply for your ISIC card then. Very easy. What you will do when we're setting up the bank account, you will set up your bank account, you'll get a number, you'll have a plastic card, laminated one, which will have your IBAN and SWIFT bit code in, so you'll be able to receive money from international transfers as you would do any other way with an international payment. Then, usually within 5 days, your SIM card is delivered to the branch, which you then go and pick it up. Usually you get a text message saying it's ready, or an email saying it's ready. Go along, collect it, get it activated, and then you'll be able to use it. The one thing that is different in the Czech Republic and most other European countries is banking is not free, like it is in the UK. The reason for that is banks in the UK have extremely large investment branches where they're used to basically pay for the banking facilities that you would get in a standard bank. So remember, if you go to a branch of a bank in the UK, you may not pay for your bank account, you may not pay for anything apart from if you need a specialist service or you use an overdraft, etc. How do those people get paid if that's not what they're doing? Well, they use the money that you deposit to invest, and they generate money in their investment arm, and that's how they pay for your banking. They don't have that in many other countries that don't have a huge investment portfolio like we do in the UK. So you'll find that there are small charges anytime you use an ATM, okay? You will end up being able to use your own bank's ATMs a few times a month completely free of charge, but if you use an ATM from another branch, you will be charged a small amount of money. Now, the amounts are small, a few pence at a time, but that you'll find that that's why you are getting small charges on your bank account in Czech Republic that perhaps you wouldn't have in the UK. All right, that's just how they pay their staff in their banks there without these big investment arms that they have. Okay, right. I'm glad. Thank you for the comments there, guys. I'm grateful that people have found this useful. We usually do a full day event where we have a lot more going on, but given the current situation and the fact that it's a Saturday and I know everyone's excited about getting out there, I thought I'd want to keep it small, short and sweet, get the relevant information out. The guys from Foreigners are spectacular. They are really useful. We've had a very good experience with them over the last few years that we've had students working with them. So please, if you do have any issues on accommodation that you're dealing with outside of the university, they are definitely a good point of contact. There are other organisations as well, but Foreigners we've worked with for years and had a good experience with them, and you do get a good service for what you pay for. So any more questions, I will answer them now, but we are now at 20 past. We're finishing a few minutes early, which is fine. What I'll say is thank you so much for being so patient over this year. It has been an extremely difficult year with the COVID situation. And what I'm going to say now is looking forward to seeing you in the Czech Republic soon. Stay safe and have a good rest of the weekend. And we'll see you next week and the week after out in the Czech Republic. Take care. Bye now.